Good morning, Daybreak watchers. We're going to get going in 10 seconds here.
Good morning!
Morning!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
This is where Wisconsin wakes up. It's Daybreak with Brian Noonan and Jamie Martinson. Here are your hosts, Brian and Jamie.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. It is 6 minutes after 6. Happy Friday. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And Rabbit, good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. Glad you are here. Oh, my goodness. We want to talk to you all morning. 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. The question that I want to pose to my teammates is, what's the most unusual kind of video that you can't stop watching? The rabbit hole that you will go down. I have a couple, but I want to hear from you guys, and I want to hear from you guys at 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. It hit me yesterday that I start watching these videos, and then I cannot stop. And the most unusual one for me is hoof trimming. There are a lot of videos online.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating watching between cattle and horses, and they're shaving the hoof and getting to the infection and cleaning it off. And I'm like, that is so satisfying. And then they put the whatever the medicine on, and they glue a rubber thing on to even out the hoof. And I'm like, I could watch these all day. And some nights we've had the TV on. I don't know what's on the TV because I'm watching infected hooves get shaved down. And I didn't even know this was a thing.
Sheep shearing is also like that a little bit. Like when
when they
bring in one of those great big woolly sheep and you can't really tell what's underneath of it, and then all of a sudden, like these. And what I always love about those videos is it's always the most petite woman on the face of the earth, right? And she's just like throwing this sheep around and she's doing this thing, and then all of a sudden you have like this pile of wool and this sweater essentially next to her. So I always find those crazy. For me, it's like when they and I know some people hate this, but it's like the pimple popper stuff.
That was my second on my list.
Those are fascinating.
I want one of those little tools with the ring on the end that they push down and the pore just explodes out. Good morning. Enjoy your coffee.
Like the ingrown hair ones too, right? Where they just pull those. Like, who in their right mind lets an ingrown hair get that bad? I don't understand.
I'm fascinated by those. And then the final one is any sort of really screwed up toes when they're cutting off these nails that have been left to go for years.
You guys are weird.
Yeah, the first two I get because I've also been served those. And if you watch one, you're going to get served a million.
Yeah.
The last one is where we cross the line.
I've had a lot of foot
Not a
problems in
toenail
my
person?
life, and so it's fascinating to me to go, oh, my feet weren't so bad. Look at this. Now, some of them I know are AI.
Of course.
The ones that are coming now, I'm like, there's no way that person could even walk with that. But, those are my three. But the hoof ones, I had, because I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
So the first one I saw, I was like, really? This goes on.
Yeah.
Now, man, I want to go maybe Frank, get us on a dairy farm. I want to shave some hooves.
Yeah, I'm sure they would absolutely love two radio hosts to come in and do that procedure.
I want to do some hoof veterinary work.
Okay. I'll get right on
for my
that.
next chapter.
It's at the top of my list.
I want to glue that pad on after I've cleaned out an infection.
I don't see you making notes or writing anything
I'm
down.
not.
Okay. All right.
It's all up here, baby.
Lynn in Golden Valley chiming in on our text line this morning. She says that she likes watching folks start those century-old engines, some many tons and big. Yeah, those are always pretty cool.
I haven't seen those. I got to now. Lynn, you might have gotten my algorithm into something
I
else.
also get sucked in by good dog videos. I mean, especially when the dog videos are the breeds that my dog is mixed with, and I get to like watch all these other. It makes me feel better about my own plot in life, essentially, when I see other dogs doing the same thing she does. Because sometimes I think she's just weird, and I'm like, nope. It's just a breed thing, apparently. So I get sucked in by that periodically as well.
Frank, Parkers are all about, I don't know what Parkers would be about.
What are yours, Parker?
I've been getting a lot of organ, as in the instrument, a lot of those videos lately.
Why?
There is a woman who performs on the organ, and she like travels around the world. Like she's like world renowned for it. I've been getting a lot of those lately.
Okay.
You're getting very close to,
organ player.
Yeah, a woman who performs on the organ. I don't know.
Yeah.
You mean she plays the organ?
She plays the organ.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay, just checking.
Cool, man.
Nobody,
That's fun.
is
Yeah,
nobody
no,
else
that's nice.
picking up what Brian's laying down right now?
It's not Frank. If you call it out, sometimes you just let it out there, let it breathe. Now, Frank, I'm dying to know what videos get you.
I've also fallen victim to the hoof cleaning at one point in life. Same with the pimple pops. My current algorithm right now on TikTok is the Michael Jackson movie, and I think I've seen the entire movie just in clips.
Without
That
out
looks
of
so
sequential
weird,
order.
doesn't it? Is everything AI in that movie? Are there any real actors, or did they?
No, that's real. That's him.
real.
But did
Yeah.
they put?
That's not. No, I think the only
It's
thing
his-
that was
it's like
complete
his-
CGI was Bubbles the chimp.
And it's his nephew.
Yeah.
I know that.
So-
But even then, it looks like they've used an AI filter over a human's
No,
face.
apparently, because I've seen every video.
This
I've
isn't
seen a lot
spoiling
of
Swipe or Stay, is it?
no. I've seen a
Okay,
lot of
good.
interviews where like members of the family went to see him come out and like for the first time in the full makeup, and they were like freaked out a little bit
Wow.
because of how
because he looks
good
so
he
much
looked.
like. Okay.
Okay.
Alicia from chiming in over on our YouTube page says hockey videos, specifically the goalies, are what gets her every single time.
Okay.
I would agree with that one. Like I've said before on the show, look up NHL mic'd up videos. Those
Oh
are
yeah, those are the best.
the best. My weird video that I can't stop watching, I'll never scroll past like a pan cleaning video.
Oh, like
Pan
the,
cleaning?
the
Yes, like a
cast iron ones,
like an old cast
Okay.
iron
Yes.
skillet where they have to
Oh, yeah,
put
those
it in
are-
like the electrolysis
the
bath.
layers.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I like those too. It's like anything that accomplishes a
Gross.
task, no, or starts gross, but then it
Yeah.
it fixes it. Because in those short videos, you get to see the whole thing. It's like they're just eating videos. Oh my gosh!
Well, Cindy says
Cindy.
people are eating breakfast this morning, and we're talking about things that are a little gross. Sorry, Cindy.
Well,
Sorry.
People
Disclaimer
are
at the
eating
beginning.
breakfast.
Yeah.
give us
Fainted
some.
heart.
It's not our fault that everybody watches videos that are gross. If, we
is
mentioned
true.
Alicia's hockey. That was good. And Starting Engines was a good one. Roger and Stevens Point watch police dash cam videos. Summer
Oh, yeah,
tra-
those
Ooh,
are
that's a good one.
Those are really
especially
good.
those
It's a
in
really good
Arkansas.
one.
Those are good.
Yep.
Chat over on Facebook says anything that is humorous for me on TikTok. I mean, that's I think the beauty of these videos, right? Is that they are a departure from like reality and all of the stuff happening around you. Even take out news or anything, even in just daily life, sometimes you just need to see something mindless on your phone for a few minutes, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's happening. Sometimes you just need that few minutes where you zone out and you watch a good hoof cleaning or
Last
a good
night I
pimple pop.
watched a sloth pooping, and it was.
A sloth pooping. Was it as
Sloth
slow
poop?
as
What?
the sloth?
Is it as slow? Yeah.
They only do it once a week.
What?
So yeah,
Once
it
a
took a while.
week? Okay.
Sloths go once a week. Listen, this show is about edutainment. We educate and
This is
entertain.
true. This is true. Mark from Prairie to Sac chiming in this morning saying, I remember a joke back in the day that Michael Jackson wanted to look like Diana Ross. That was something that people talked about a lot in the late 80s, early 90s. Was
Also,
how he was
Diana
morphing
Ross
into
kind
that.
of groomed him, but I'm not ready for that conversation.
Wow, people are eating their
Look
breakfast,
it up,
Frank.
dude. I am
Look it
deep
up.
in the weeds.
Look
I am
it up.
so deep in the weeds on
This
this.
is what happens when you have to prepare for swipe or stay. I guess.
Well,
Yes.
I have no desire to see the movie. But I I found yesterday I was posting something on a couple of things on Instagram. All the trending music is old Michael Jackson songs. So it's amazing now that everyone is getting into it. And now I'm like, I don't want to be starting something on this post. I need something else.
Right.
That's trending.
Banger, though.
I know.
Steve about Horb says things that live inside you. Okay.
Like when they find a worm or something in your ear?
I
don't watch those.
Ear cleaning videos are also satisfying.
Yes,
Just
they really are.
Oh, man.
How can people go around with that much stuff stuck in their ears?
Know.
I don't
It's happened to me before where I couldn't hear out of my left ear.
You got to be
3
kidding.
days.
Because you had stuff in your ear?
Yeah.
A Lego?
It happens. Here's what I'll say. It happens
That's
to
more
me.
defensible.
No, it was just impacted wax. But this happens to me at least 2 or 3 times a year
Q-tips
where I have
are
to
actually-
flush it.
Q-tips are actually the worst thing you can use in your ears.
And I don't
know
use
this
them.
because I had really horrible ears when I was a little girl. I had infections. I had to do the tubes and all of that kind of stuff. And Q-tips are actually the worst thing you can use in your ear because it simply just pushes all of the gunk down and then packs it all together instead of a lot of times actually getting it out of the ear.
I'm pretty sure that Q-tips boxes say do not put this in your ear. Like
Right.
I'm pretty sure the one use for them is the thing you're not supposed to do.
It's like those sunshades that they put in your car in the summer to make sure that they stay cooler, and it says please remove before driving. It's the same kind of concept.
I don't
Parker, I ain't letting
wax.
no box tell me how to live my life.
No, Frank's
You're right.
impacting that stuff. He's using a little plunger.
You're a free
jamming
bird,
it in there.
Frank.
Roger from Stevens Point says that he loves Dean Martin celebrity roast shorts, especially the Gladys Ormfee and Foster Brooks clips. Sorry, I don't.
I have also been down that rabbit hole.
Those are fun.
Those are
very,
fun,
very
Carson
outdated. Carson clips are good. Gary's listening on WMDX in Madison. He enjoys wild animal birthing and animal babies' first experiences videos.
Oh yeah, those are good.
That's
I
nice.
I love the ones when baby colts or when colts are standing up for the first time or or calves.
I've been getting
It's
a
the
lot of baby
best.
giraffes.
Oh, they're so
my
adorable.
algorithm.
Baby elephants are the best as well when you watch them. They're fun videos. Chad saying over on Facebook this morning, then how do you clean your ears?
I'll explain it real quick. You have to
please,
get
Debrox
eardrops, and put those in your ear, and that softens everything out. And then you need to take a little bulb syringe, like
used for suck baby snot out of their head.
correct, and you fill that with warm water, and you squeeze
Parker.
and you flush out the ear.
Parker doesn't understand any of the Parker, when you have a baby, babies don't know how to blow their nose.
No.
Yeah.
So you have to get it out for
it's
them.
like a little
It's a
bulb
bubble.
sucker. It's a little bulb sucker.
The bulb sucker, yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
it makes
you-
a great sound when it's
True story.
vacuuming out their
It's the
nog.
best sound ever.
Don't get it too high up. Little pro tip, because part of the brain comes with. So you only put it in a little bit. There's a lot of stupid kids because their parents went too deep.
That explains a lot.
But
It
no,
does explain a lot.
bulb suckers are also not videos, but satisfyingly exciting for me. I used to love that sound when everything would schlunk back into
Mark
it.
trying to get us to cry with his from Prairie du Sac. Dogs reuniting with their people that they've been separated for a long
those
time.
are the best.
I saw my dog do the unbridled joy thing when he came back from being fostered after my hospital stay for cancer surgery and chemo. Yeah, dogs. That's why we keep dogs around.
They're the best. They really are.
Well, some good news from coming out of the House yesterday about the funding for Homeland Security. And we will talk about that after this. It is Daybreak on a Friday. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. 6:19 right now. You are listening to the Civic Media Network.
All right.
See, the goofiest thing.
Goofiest thing.
Right away in the morning. You guys
And
are on top of it.
Now
I love it.
nobody's going to talk about anything the rest of the day.
I watched a sloth poop. What?
That's crazy.
It was
Frank, I
crazy.
know that you love those carpet cleaning videos where
I
they are
do.
ungodly dirty.
So good.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
great.
those are
I
the
watched
best.
a guy squeegee
good.
a mirror yesterday for about 10
Yes.
minutes. Same mirror, just the way he no streaks, nothing. I was like, oh, that is satisfying.
This guy's got it.
This guy, look
I
at
don't
that.
know what it is, but he has it.
Got it. Not just the way the fluidity of motion and the perfect not a streak, not a bubble, nothing. I was like, dude, you are a master.
That's hilarious.
but it's, I mean, I don't, those things are, I
so
like the carpet
satisfying.
cleaning ones like you do, Frank. I like when they're putting, when they're staining a floor. I like those videos too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the ones where they make the, it's like the clear acrylic where they put all of the and then they do full
the
floors and stuff.
Yep. Those
and
are
they
great
have to
too.
polish them. Those are super fun. I love.
You got
those.
a river running down the middle of your kitchen, or
then I look at it and I'm like, what does that do for your resale value? Because that's pretty like specific, but it's super fun to watch. I love to watch.
It's all
those.
task related stuff and things that have where people are really taking their time to do something right.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I dig.
Yeah.
Because at first I used to listen to the audio of the hoof cleaning too. Now I don't need I don't need an explanation. I know what's happening. I've seen enough.
Just give me the good stuff.
Just get to the
you know
what I'm here for.
Skip the pizza.
You know what I'm
Let's
here
go.
for. Come on, baby, finish.
It's also oddly satisfying watching a horse be rehooved.
Yes.
Yeah. Get the new. Yeah.
I'm just amazed of all the stuff that they pull out of their nails and screws and children and all kind of things that are wedged in there.
Children.
That's where I left my keys. All right, we got a little less than 10 seconds.
Wisconsin wakes up here. Back to Daybreak with Brian and JB.
6:22 right now. Thank you so much for joining us on this very brisk Friday morning. We've got some frost advisories, some freeze warnings across the state because temperatures dipped pretty very cold last night, in fact. So as you wake up this morning, you're probably not going to run out of the house without a jacket like you have been the last few days. Just saying. Or you can. Yeah. Whatever. It's fine. If you want to be cold, that's fine.
Yes,
that's
but we are telling you it's cold. Now it's up to you. We've given you the information you need to cope. Parker even went so far to wear a hockey sweater today. So he is he's ready to go. He went back to winter. He's back in October, hoping for a long season.
I hate this time of year, though. I hate this time of year simply because of these ups and downs with the weather. But
yeah, I had to scrape my car before I left. Yeah, 2 days in a row now I've had to do that.
Yeah. Debbie's car was completely iced over yesterday because she refuses to park in the garage.
Mother Nature needs to realize it's May and get her act together.
Come on, it's gonna snow one more time.
It could.
Don't
on Mother's Day.
Brian.
Parker,
reel it in here.
Listen, whatever happens. Guess what? Hey, the government shutdown may be partially over. We think because yesterday Mike Johnson did something he hasn't done before. He actually called a vote and the House voted Thursday to fund much of the Department of Homeland Security, but they did not vote to fund immigration enforcement operations. So that's kind of what the Democrats were hoping for. That's what the Senate had originally sent him 2 or 3 weeks ago, a plan that had been approved in a bipartisan nature, saying we're going to fund everything else. So TSA gets paid, the Coast Guard, everybody else gets paid, but ICE, who was already funded, doesn't need money right now. So they've decided they're going to do that. The catch is that now they've had to send it to the president to be signed. So we don't know yet what he is going to do. He may, because none of the SAVE Act stuff, none of the ICE money is in there. So those were the two major sticking points for the Republicans. DHS has been without routine funds since February 14th. A lot of workers, we've heard this story about not only TSA, but a lot of other government workers who work for that department have been going without pay. They had a short reprieve for the last couple weeks, but that money was due to run out. So the House voted by voice yesterday without a formal roll call to pass the measure. It brought an abrupt end to the standoff that began months ago after Trump's deadly immigration crackdown in Minnesota launched a reckoning on Capitol Hill over the money being sent to fuel the president's agenda. So this is good news. We're gonna take it for
news.
all the TSA agents, everybody else, and House Republicans coming to their senses. For the most part, until Mike Johnson said that while he had trashed this bill in the past, the new budget process will ensure that the immigration money will eventually flow, quote, with no crazy Democrat reforms.
Like
Mike.
accountability for ICE agents.
Right,
Those are
that's
crazy reforms.
We don't want a masked Gestapo that is killing our citizens. Crazy.
Right. What I thought was interesting about this, though, is by starting this process, Johnson was able to really just unlock this broader bipartisan bill for the rest of DHS. But eventually, it was $70 billion for immigration enforcement and deportations, which would essentially take care of ICE for the remainder of Trump's presidency.
But that might only be a year. because there might be a change in the Senate and the Congress. I don't want the James Comey treatment.
Yes. And as a reminder, as of right now, the term expires in January of 2029. So this, and I think the ICE bill is going to be probably the one that is going to have the most fight. I mean, we've seen what it's done in this particular shutdown, and the fact that they had to eventually pass something without ICE involved because Republicans and Democrats could not come to some sort of agreement. And not all Republicans were actually pleased about this, by the way.
No.
In fact, during the floor action yesterday, Representative Chip Roy of Texas said that isolating the immigration-related money on a separate track is, quote, offensive to the men and women who serve in ICE and Border Patrol and are serving this country every single day.
Yeah, but Chip, they've been getting paid. They haven't been affected by this shutdown. Their paychecks came every 2 weeks, just like they were supposed to. So slow your roll, get your facts straight, and quit trying to brainwash and gaslight the American public who already know that this money was there, that ICE has been funded since the big beautiful bill, and that will not change. So stop. Stop with this hysterics of, why are we disrespecting these people? I don't know these people, but I know the only way you show respect to a worker is to pay them, and they are being paid. The people who weren't being paid, thanks to you and your ilk, were all the hardworking TSA agents, the people in the rest of the Department of Homeland Security. They were the ones not being respected because you would not vote to pay them.
I think what's going to be fascinating over the next few weeks is if Mike Johnson does bring anything to the floor for ICE, how that's received by a large majority of the Republican Party, because not all of the Republican Party, because of the current polling, not all of the current Republican Party is on board with giving ICE more money.
And this is a dangerous time for them.
I think they eventually fall in line because that's what the Republican Party always does, because there's a lot of theatrics, there's a lot of show that goes into it. I believe they probably fall in line at some point, but I don't believe that this is going to be an easy process. And so far, we have seen this House and the Senate, both under GOP control, not be on the same page in a lot of ways. And
that's a lot of money, $70 billion on top of all the extra money they're asking for this war that the president started by choice. And we're going to get into all of that because, today is the day that the deadline runs out. This is the day that he had to get congressional approval to continue this. Or does he? Well, we'll talk about this. But, hey, guess what? The Trump administration wants Wisconsin to pay them back. They need our money to help fund all this other stuff. So we'll get to that after this. It's Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. You are listening to the Civic Media Network. I don't know if I've actually seen a time where the Senate and the House, not only on the national level, but we even saw that here in Wisconsin, have been so not on the same page. Because this GOP usually snaps into line really, really quickly. Like they have for years. And I find it, I have found it really fascinating watching on the national level how Mike Johnson and John Thune have not really agreed on a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of things. At some point, you have to look at this and go, we have a mad king who is making decisions. If you just watched Pete Hegseth's testimony the last 2 days, it was like he cast himself in an adventure movie. He didn't want to answer anything. He would just yell out words like he had Tourette's. Just Biden, California.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense, the whole thing. So at some point, even if you are a tried and true party guy, you should be a human being, and you must have some smarts because you made it that far to go, this is not right, and this will not last.
I think they have to. I mean, and at this point, I think more of it has to do with the fact that they're watching the midterms and the re-election chances. Mm-hmm.
And even their own constituents are like, dude, we can't afford gas. We can't afford groceries.
Yeah.
Why are we focused on this? He started a war. Now he's insulting every ally we have. He's trying to take over countries for no reason. The only people getting rich are he and his pals, and we're suffering, and he doesn't care. They laugh about gas prices. They tell us up is down and left is right, and we're supposed to believe it. So if you have any sense, even just the sense of self-preservation, you're going to change your mind.
Yeah. I also think in the Senate you have, I mean, obviously in both chambers you have people that are very fringe of the party, of both parties, and that's no exception. But I think in the Senate, it feels like there are more measured legislators, right? It feels
you don't see them trying to make a name for themselves, really.
They
in the House, they have to.
They're usually gonna snap into line with the GOP agenda, but I feel like they are a little bit more measured and actually using the Constitution as a lot of them, not all of them, because I know then you have some of them. We won't mention Lindsey Graham, but you have some of them then that are, still using the Constitution as a basis for making decisions and the norms and the processes and the procedures. We're in the House of Representatives. I feel like they just want to blow it all up. And that's where most of the stalemate has come too.
Right.
The Senate seems to be doing their job. The House is what keeps screwing everything all up.
Well, the House, there's so many of them. They need to be seen. They need to make a name. So they're going to be as outrageous as they can be. They're going to shout down the president. They're going to make a scene and say outrageous stuff just so they get some press, so they can go back to their constituents and say, look, out of all these people, I'm making news. I'm the one getting stuff done. You're not getting stuff done. You're just being a jerk. You're being the drunk at the end of the bar who's yelling out incoherent garbage.
I also think it's interesting that Louisiana was at the center of the VRA, and that happens to be where Mike Johnson's from.
Yeah.
I
don't count the rest of the state. I only love New Orleans County.
Yeah.
That's the only part of Louisiana I will defend.
I know other people who grew up and lived in the state for a long time, and that's the same thing they say too.
Yeah. It is a backward swamp, but
it's an interesting place. When you get out of New Orleans.
If we, we got to keep, not we, the show, but people need to keep hammering on what happened the other day, because
it's bad. This
whole thing, it's all going to plan for them. It was all part of Project 2025. It was all there. Hillary told us, Kamala told us, anybody with a voice who read this told us.
Mm-hmm.
And yet here we are.
Right.
15 seconds till we're back.
Wisconsin wakes up here. Back to Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Good morning. It is 6:35 right now. We hope that you are having a great start to your day. A little brisk out there on a Friday, so just be prepared for that. It's not exactly May 1st type of weather when you step outside. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. It is May 1st. It's a Friday. Maybe your kids are off school today because it is the big day when everybody, It's May Day Strong, National Day of Action. Fighting for workers and immigrant rights. A lot of school districts off. Milwaukee's off. Madison's off. Sun Prairie's off. A lot of other districts around the state are off. There's protests scheduled throughout the state. There's going to be a protest here in Wisconsin, especially all we've talked about is referendum because school funding. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough money. Well, now the administration has decided we want our money back. They are asking or telling the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction to return more than $20 million in federal COVID-19 relief funds provided to public schools during the pandemic. Remember the pandemic? That was a while ago.
Private schools. They want the money from the private schools.
Yes.
Yes.
September 2025 audit report by the Federal Office of Inspector General found that Wisconsin, quote, improperly approved funds from the Emergency Assistance to Non-Public Schools program for 184 non-public schools. But it says right in the assistance that it's for non-public schools. The audit says that Wisconsin did not verify certain information in non-public schools, including verifying the applications meet requirements, including accreditation and nonprofit status.
I find this really fascinating because this was money that was originally distributed under Donald Trump's first administration, right?
Biden.
COVID relief funds.
Yep.
So naturally, to me, the first question that comes to my mind is if this program was approved back in 2021, where was the oversight then by that administration? And where was their record keeping back in 2021 that they had no idea how these funds were being distributed during COVID?
They had no idea how a lot of the funds were being distributed. We all remember stories from back then about businesses that didn't need this money getting the small business. Money was flowing. They couldn't send. We all got our checks, remember?
Right.
And then people who went on unemployment, friends of mine, who did everything correctly. They filled out their paperwork. They went in every other week. They got their little unemployment bump because of COVID. Then a couple years later, they were getting letters saying, we want all that money back because well, no, I did it the right way. You sent the money. You're not getting any money back. That money kept me alive for those 2 years.
And a DPI spokesperson is disputing the federal government's audit findings. Now, he is saying that the department worked with School Choice Wisconsin and the Wisconsin School Council of Religious and Independent Schools to make this particular program work. The plan was explicitly approved by the U.S. Department of Education in 2021.
When we had one.
That's right. And the spokesperson also says that throughout the process, DPI acted transparently. They followed all of the federal guidance, and they focused on supporting students with the greatest need. Now, I had to do a little digging into some of this because I needed to see how this all worked out. There were a couple of different programs. The program we are talking about was specifically given to non-public schools, so private, charter, voucher, whatever you want to call them. The public schools alone received about $190 billion, and that's of course throughout the country, through some major relief bills. That money came with some flexibility though for the public schools because they could spend it on everything from ventilation systems to mental health services, technology, remote learning, because nobody was equipped for what was about to come. And that flexibility for the public schools mattered. And districts were told to move fast, help the kids, keep the schools running. And now we fast forward 5 years later, and suddenly we're auditing decisions that were made in the middle of essentially a crisis when guidance was evolving minute by minute, right?
Well,
I mean, we
right,
didn't
but
know.
None of us knew what was happening,
Right.
and that went from everywhere from the disease itself to schools.
Right.
Now, the president of School Choice Wisconsin has said that the private schools had unprecedented partnership with DPI and to administer the program. The program was a highly successful blueprint for future partnerships between DPI and Wisconsin's private schools communities. So we will see. And it boils down basically to one school, Carter's Christian Academy in Milwaukee. They received over almost $840,000, but were ineligible because they also received a federal PPP loan of $200,000 in March. So that's where the whole one school, and they're demanding all the money back because they need it for everything else that they're trying to do. It's not going back to schools.
Right.
It's not going to public service. It's not going to Medicaid or anything else.
Right.
It's going to go maybe into Trump's pocket.
There's a couple layers of this that don't add up for me. First and foremost, where is that money now coming from, right? Is this going to be a taxpayer-funded thing to give this money back to the federal government? Because we're already stretched pretty thin here in the state of Wisconsin.
Bottom line is it's not going back to the government. They're going to fight this, and it's going to be proven that once again the administration has jumped the gun, and they're trying to find any reason to get money back, and that money's long gone. It's not coming back.
I mean, there are communities whose school districts are already dealing with what they're calling a fiscal cliff. And now the federal government's just like, no, give us our money back. No, that's probably not happening. The other question that I have about this is, I don't know. I find it kind of ironic that this administration has been all about the private schools, voucher schools.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the schools that they're targeting here in the state of Wisconsin to get their money back. To me, that seems I find it kind of odd because of how much they love to talk about private schools, charter schools,
They
school
love
choice.
private and charter schools when the state has to pay for them. They don't want to fund them themselves.
Yep, there's the difference.
They don't even, they barely want to do anything with education in general, let alone fund private schools or public schools. They're not, they're doing everything they can to cut funding. We've seen that from the university level all the way down. So it's another money grab that they don't care about its effect on American citizens. They don't care about its effect on schools, whether they're public or private. It doesn't matter. If it was a mistake, or if there was one school that somehow skirted the system or did something they shouldn't, or maybe just made an honest mistake, well, then talk to that school.
Yeah.
Figure it out with that. You don't go after the entire state when you found one. It's like burning down a whole orchard because there was one rotten apple on a tree. It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I guess the bigger question as you look at this particular action is what happens if states are being punished going forward for following federal guidance, especially during an emergency? I mean, this is not the first time we've seen this administration do something like this. And so I guess with schools...
Looking at you, Doge.
I guess with schools and the situation, not only here in the state of Wisconsin, but around the country this is a precarious situation with the school districts, with our school system. We know the fight that this administration has put up against, as you rightly pointed out, against education. But I also think if they're going to do this to the school districts, they're going to do this to any program. And we've also seen them do that to things like SNAP, Medicare, Medicaid, and come back and say, you didn't distribute this. They want the rolls. They want all of this. And so it's just another one of those things where it feels like more of a power grab than any sort of accountability when you look at their actions in a whole.
The citizens of this country should not pay for the ineptitude of the administration. If your people made mistakes, and you can make as many excuses for those mistakes as you want, because we were trying to move fast, we were in uncharted waters, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, then it's incumbent upon you as the people who are creating these policies and dealing with this money. It's money. We don't just, you and I, Jamie, we don't just give our money away willy-nilly. We know where our money is going. So, and then if we get burned, it's on us, right? We got to listen, if they made a mistake, if the government made a mistake or didn't have the oversight, didn't have the framework ready to make sure that these programs were run correctly, it's on them. They have to bear the brunt of this.
I don't remember a time when we have where we have been able to have so little trust in our federal government, especially on a state level. I mean, when you look at what this administration has done, and how the Republican Party is always about states' rights, right? I mean, that they love to talk about states' rights, kick it back to the states, let the states decide. But then when it comes to decisions the states have made with guidance from the federal government, this administration basically bullies. They basically say that the states have made the wrong decisions, even though it's all about states' rights. And in this particular case, this is more than accountability. I mean, can we actually trust the federal guidance that we're getting in state government, whether it's schools, whether it's any of our programs, to not actually get caught up in some sort of conundrum years later over guidance that this administration gave? I mean, that's essentially where we're at, that we can't trust the federal government on the federal level, but then when they kick it back to the states, can we actually trust them at that to allow the states to do what they need to do? And I would argue no in a lot of cases at this point.
No, of course not. They don't want to handle it until they want to handle it. Then it's, well, we wanted it this way. Yeah, but you told us we could do it our way.
Right.
Well, no, but we want you to do it our way. And when I said if they made a mistake, I'm not talking about the people who gamed the system intentionally.
Right.
I'm not talking about the people who took out PPP loans. And
too.
There were a lot of people who figured out a way to work the system. Those people are cheats. Those people are criminals, and they deserve to have the money given back. When you're looking at one school out of all the private schools that were funded through this program, you don't penalize the whole program. Right. You go and you figure out what happened with this school. Was there, in fact, some sort of malfeasance, or is this another clerical error by your groups that is going to come back and go, oh, you know what, we made a mistake, but we've already gotten the money back, so I guess you're out of luck. That just seems to be the way they're all talk. They're jump first, look later. They don't have a plan. We see it with the war. We saw it with Doge. We see it with everything. There's no plan, but we have to jump into action right now with the most drastic measures we can. Instead of using a scalpel, we use a blowtorch all the time, and it backfires. And it hurts us. It doesn't hurt them. It hurts us.
We've got Brian chiming in, listening on WXCO in Wausau this morning. He says that they're profiling education just like their ICE initiatives. If one is bad, get rid of the whole civilization. If you'd like to comment this morning, make a call, text 1-855-752-4842, 1-855-75-CIVIC. And you can't disagree with what Brian's saying. I mean, they've
targeted education since the beginning.
Yes. I mean, at one point, the objective was to get rid of the Department of Education completely.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close.
They're very close. They're very close. But then again, it was, well, let's kick it back to the states. But then this is how we attack the states.
Right. Let's kick it back to the states and then say, oh, no, but wait, you can't teach that. That's not what we want. Well, you said it was up to us, so we're going to teach, the full history of the United States. No. We don't want that.
No, but we want the parts that,
So who's it up to? Is it up to us or is it up to a wrestling executive? I don't know.
We don't know.
I guess we'll find out. There's more as we come back. Zombies? Zombie fish? This is, what? We'll figure it out. It's Daybreak on the Civic Media Network.
Zombie fish?
Zombie fish.
I don't know. Have you seen the photos of these fish?
They're very, I don't know. They're very tiny.
It's like apocalyptic or something. It's very weird.
Some of you fish?
It's very strange. Oh my goodness. I had a horrible time getting up this morning. In fact, the only reason I actually got up is because my alarm that I have set across the room was going off, and it actually woke my husband up, who had to then come in and tell me, you should get up. And I was like, oh, yes, I should. Because it was a problem this morning.
Right after we talked about that yesterday, too.
Yeah. Usually, like, it's hard to sleep through that one because it's really obviously because he heard it across the hall. But no, he actually had to come in and tell me, you need to get up. Your alarm's going off.
And it's annoying me.
It was annoying him. And now he was awake. So then we had a problem.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
No, it was tough this morning.
Yeah, today was.
But then I remembered it was Friday.
Right? Propels you out of bed.
And then I remember what I have to do on Friday, and I'm going back to bed.
Right?
No, we're going on nursing home tours today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How is your mom doing?
She's doing, it's not great, but so Debbie took the day off because I was like, can you come with me? Because I don't want to, I'll forget stuff. And she's good at she's very organized. She'll take the notes and stuff. And and I'm hoping one of these is good. So
yeah. Were you able to find some that are fairly close to you and Debbie?
Yeah. Okay. They're all of them are under a half hour, 20 minutes about.
Nice.
So that'll make it a little easier.
Yeah.
Especially when gas keeps creeping up and it's like, man, I don't want to be blowing $40 every time I go see my mom.
Well, it makes visiting
She's
easier.
worth it, but it's like.
Yeah. It makes visiting easier if you have to be there in a quick hurry or
and any emergency, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're right down the street. I can be there anytime.
Yeah.
But I thought when we moved her into the place she's in now, that was going to be it. But she is reached the limits for them.
That's got to be hard for her too.
It is, because she still thinks she's going to, like, one day she thinks she's going to be bounce back. Then the next day she's crying because she doesn't know what's happening to her. And she, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, it is.
Got about 10 seconds.
Not as hard as being a zombie fish.
From Lake Superior to Lake Michigan, this is Wisconsin's Morning Conversation. Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Civic Media Network. It's 6:52 right now. I am Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. We are glad you're here. Jamie, you saw this story and you sent it. And
Did.
I've gone over it, and it's freakish because
It is.
apparently researchers are perplexed, as I am, and I'm not a researcher, by a growing number of zombie fish deep in Lake Superior. That's right. You didn't think after coming off some funding talk or political talk, you'd be hearing us talk about zombie fish, but why not? So what's the deal with these gross-looking fish, Jamie?
They really are gross-looking, and this is happening in the deepest part of Lake Superior, about a quarter mile below the surface. These researchers are discovering a growing number of extraordinarily thin lake trout that weigh about half their typical healthy body weight. So they've called these fish now zombie fish. And you're right, when you look at the photos of them, they are very, very strange. Fish are not the most elegant, lovely creatures anyway.
I mean,
These
we're
are
not
really
talking
awful.
tropical fish. We're not the aquarium in Finding Nemo. We're talking about,
Right.
trout.
These particular fish are so skinny that they look like they're suffering from some sort of famine, at least according to a research biologist for the Michigan Department of Natural Resources. They're emaciated, is essentially what these fish look like. And scientists don't know what's causing this or if there's even some sort of problem. So researchers first have to try to determine what is causing these severely underweight fish.
Well,
What
they're
the
too deep,
long-term-
right? Wouldn't that be? I'm no expert, but I'm going to come up with. It's like the old Sam Kinison bit: swim up to where the food is.
Right. Well, the condition that is occurring in one of 4 subspecies of lake trout. And these are known as cicklewets that live in the deepest part of the lake. So they're supposed to be deep in the lake. And they've adapted to have very high body fat content, which allows them to survive in these really harsh conditions.
Yeah, because it's cold down there.
Exactly. But instead, some of these fish that they've surveyed have only been only have about a third of the fat content of healthy fish of the same age and health. They look gaunt and they look like they've been stretched in some capacity because they are so thin.
Yeah.
And some of them even have deformed spines. So Department of Natural Resources, first of all, wants to determine what is causing this, and they think that there could be a few different reasons. The first hypothesis is that the fish are starving because they're living so far down.
See, I'm down with that one.
Or because there might have been some sort of natural ecological event that took place at the depths that they're living. The condition could also be disease related. They also say that there's a third possibility, which could be that sea lamprey are weakening a large number of the ciskowets. And researchers are also investigating whether the trout have been contaminated by some sort of toxin living at the very depths of the Lake Superior.
That's wild.
It is really wild. But when you think about it, it also tells you how incredibly fragile our ecosystem is and why conservation of our environment, our waterways, is so important. And I get it. We don't know what's causing
this. But it also
this,
shows you how sturdy it is because these fish are somehow still surviving, despite the fact that they crave brains now. It's very. But if you get a chance, go look up zombie fish in Lake Superior and look at the pictures, because it is very strange. Not only, you mentioned it, but not only the thinness or the gauntness of these fish, but the deformities in the spine.
Yeah.
And it is. I'm always, when I hear these stories and I think about these researchers and their fascinating work, it's like, how did you find the first one?
Right.
Were you down that deep? Or did it float to the top and you found it after it died?
Did somebody catch it fishing? Because I can't imagine fishing with them being that deep down.
Well, I was going to say a quarter mile down. How deep can you go?
I don't know, but it is. This is one of those. It's a really weird story. So if earlier in the show we were talking about all those weird videos that kind of grasp us and keep our attention. I gotta see if there's some
zombie fish videos.
I know. I kind of want to start seeing if that comes up in my algorithm, because my phone's sitting here next to me, and we all know that if we just say it out loud, all of a sudden in our algorithms we're gonna have zombie fish. Parker's tried it out.
I'm speaking to my phone now. Zombie fish. I want to see zombie fish. Tim, come on, Tim Cook. Show me some zombie fish.
I love the dedication of these scientists at the DNR, and to find this and not just say, "Oh, it's probably one fish that had a defect or something." No, they're going to go, "No, we're going to go find them," and then they find them, and now it's like, all right, how do we Nancy Drew this thing to figure out what is causing this?
Because let's be real, this is not some sort of crisis yet, but it could be some sort of warning sign.
That's just it. If it's a toxin, is this toxin going to spread to other species? Is it going to spread to humans? If it's just that they were too dumb to come up where the food is, well, that's natural selection. Okay. If there's a disease, again, does it spread to other species of fish? Does it possibly contaminate the water for us? Can we eat zombie fish? Is there something in them that's going to cause us to become zombies? That would, now I always take it one step too far. That,
but no, I think those
suddenly
are good
Friday fish fry and the whole church turns into zombies. And man, that's going to make for a weird bazaar on Sunday.
But I do love the research that's going into this, because ecosystems like this don't just suddenly make a major change without some sort of reason. So I do love the research that's going into this. It also proves on a Friday that science is pretty damn cool. And even if you're trying to, figure out what a zombie fish is and why it's all of a sudden a zombie fish, I think science is fascinating. So kudos to the researchers working on this zombie fish situation.
Why am I? Yeah, we're done. We got till 50 seconds. The time. How long have we been doing this show? I still don't know what time it is. I'm looking at you talking, and I'm waiting for Parker to start having a conniption fit, and you're not.
Waving his wrist?
So yeah, just going crazy, and I'm like, all right, well, listen, now I know we're almost close, but stick around because next hour we've got stuff you need to know, swipe or stay, and a very interesting discussion about the rise of white nationalism. That's all coming up in hour 2 of Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson, 6:59. You are listening to the Civic Media Network.
I can't get this top of the hour break. I can't. I just can't do it.
I saw your face and I was like, he's got the wrong time.
No, I'm looking at you and I'm like, Jamie, don't you see the clock? It's 59. We got to be out at 59 because we have to be out at 49.
Your headphones went out or something.
No, I can't. And it's literally, it's not, the clock is huge. It's also right on this paper, the break times. It's all right here. I can't get this top of the hour break.
It's a weird time.
Yeah.
It's a really weird time.
It is funky.
I want to hit the top of the hour at the top of the hour.
Right.
Yeah.
And not to mention the fact that it doesn't end at like 59.
Right.
It's 59.50.
Yeah, 50.
Right?
Yeah,
like
it's the 50 that's stupid. Yeah.
Because we end at 20, 30, 49,
yes.
59.50.
Right.
59.50.
Right.
And honestly, I don't know what my block is on that. Because I know it.
Because it's not a natural number.
And I hit it
a
majority of the time.
Yeah. It's not a natural number.
It's not.
It's like not naturally where your brain goes to end a radio block either.
Right. And then because I'm like, Jamie's going over and Parker's not doing anything. Am I the only one who's paying attention to what time it is? And then, so now I'm thinking about that. And all of a sudden
I get it. It's all good.
No, I don't know. I got mental issues.
It's a Friday. It's all good.
That would be good if I only messed it up on Friday. We could use that excuse. But
we'll use the excuse all the time. Good.
This whole company loves excuses. A million excuses. Like everybody's got an excuse.
We do like our excuses around here. Oh, my goodness. It doesn't even look warm this morning. Like, it really doesn't. We went outside. We ended up having a really late dinner last night because we both worked later than we should have.
Did you walk into a Culver's at 9:59?
We walked into a Culver's at 9:35, yes.
Oh, that's
literally.
still okay. 25 minutes is still okay.
That's okay.
What?
If you're quick. If you're in and you're out.
When
if you're getting it to go, yeah.
We didn't, and we asked them if they care, and they were like, no, because there were more people, like bigger groups, much bigger groups than just us walking in, and they were like, no, you're fine.
Okay.
And so they told us to go ahead and sit down, but it was one of those things where they're like vacuuming under your feet, kind of thing. But it was fine. We just needed to get
stay,
out of,
but we're gonna let you know that we want to go home.
Yes, and we just needed to be out of the house and our offices for a little bit. But it was funny because we're sitting there and all these people are coming in and they have all of these really small children and like school age children.
Oh, they're off today.
But they were off today. And I was sitting there and I'm like, why are these kids not at home already? And then I was like,
you are horrible parents.
Because you're off today. That's right. And I don't judge that kind of stuff, but usually you just don't see that many kids on a Thursday night running into a restaurant with their families and still ordering ice cream and all of that at 9:45.
The parents are just hoping that they crash.
I was like, they don't have school today. That makes sense.
Yeah, that would have caught me too, and I would have judged. Parker, does that surprise you that I would judge them?
Not at all.
I have to say, I don't judge on that stuff because when our kids were little, they used to storm chase with us a lot of the time. So sometimes we would be in restaurants at like midnight, 1 a.m, getting like our last meal because we'd chased all day and then we finally ended. And we didn't do that often, but they were with us, right? And they, they loved to chase. They'd seen their first tornadoes. They knew the science of tornadoes before they were 4. And they'd seen tornadoes. They'd videoed their own tornadoes on their little tablets they had. And so people would always be like, those kids should be in bed. Yep, I know they should be. I absolutely 100% know they should be. They were sciencing today. Thank you.
Sciencing.
Science.
So I try not to judge other parents because people used to judge me plenty in the truck stops of Oklahoma. when my kids would
Well, yeah,
be-
because it looks like you're a trafficker. If you're at a truck stop in Oklahoma with little
It's the only
kids at
thing that's
midnight, it's
open.
like, oh my God, we got to call the authorities.
It's the only thing that's open. And they needed food. They'd had dinner, but now
Trail
it was
mix
like,
and a slushy for everybody.
That's right. They needed food. And then we'd promptly get them, and they would storm chase in their PJs. That was always fun, because then when we get to a motel, we could just pick them up and carry them in and put them to bed, tuck them in for the night. And they were usually great because they'd watch their movies, they'd sleep. It was then when we'd get to the motel, they'd already been sleeping for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then they were up at like 6 o'clock, and Corey and I had usually gone to bed at like 1, 2 in the morning. So, yay, we're all up. We didn't do that often, but there was a few of those where they got to go with us.
Well, that sounds like something they won't forget.
Oh no, they've still
The good
they
and the
hate-
bad.
they hated storm chasing because it was a lot of driving and then sitting and waiting.
Yeah.
So we would always make sure that we would sit and wait if they were with us, which was not often. And half the reason why I quit chasing as much as I did. But we would always make sure we were sitting and waiting in like some little town with a cool park if they were with us, so they could run around and have fun while we watch the weather.
We've got 10 seconds till we're back.
Local news, community stories, and the conversations that matter most. Now, more Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Good morning, 7:06 right now. We hope that you are having a great start to your day. If you're in Madison, listening on WMDX, in Wausau, listening on WXCO, in La Crosse on WLCX, we're glad that you decided to join us on this Friday. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. Little change this morning because the big news coming out about the Iran war, which we usually do at the top of the hour, is based close to home and really falls under the big category, Parker, of we need to know.
It's a wake-up call in more ways than one. Time for some you need to know.
Well, Jamie, you know this, and other people may still know it or have forgotten. Today is the deadline, because a president can start a military action, but without congressional approval. But in 60 days, they have to get congressional approval. And today is the day that the president would have to get congressional approval. But, as is always the case, this administration is trying to skirt the law, and they are saying that the war in Iran has already ended because of the ceasefire that began in early April. Now, that's an interpretation that would allow the White House to avoid the need to seek congressional approval. The statement furthers an argument laid out by Pete Hegseth during his testimony in the Senate yesterday, when he said the ceasefire effectively paused the war. I'm talking to myself. Let me finish. You're the only one who's interrupting you, numbskull. Under that rationale, the administration has not yet met the requirement mandated by a 1973 law to seek formal approval from Congress for military action that extends beyond 60 days. Correct me if I'm wrong. We still have a military blockade in place in the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes.
We still have people on standby, military forces on standby in the area. We are still intercepting ships that are coming through. We're boarding them. We're taking their crews. We're still doing all that during the quote-unquote ceasefire, correct?
Yes. Those are all correct answers. Yes.
Okay. I'm just, because sometimes I think maybe I got TDS, Maybe I'm suffering from a little Trump-deranged syndrome.
We're not negotiating to end it completely, right? Like, we haven't sent anybody to have it, to the talks to end the war.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
We're waiting for a phone call.
That's right.
And yes, we have technically stopped bombing.
Sure.
But
for the time being.
We haven't pulled the war isn't the end of a war. I'm old enough to remember when Vietnam ended. We pulled our troops out. It was it was not done easily, but I remember when Joe Biden pulled the troops out of Afghanistan.
Right.
Again, not done correctly, but it was done. That's when a war is over, when you bring everybody home. if they're still on standby, you are still at war.
Well, it correct me if I'm wrong, but other countries have not abided by the ceasefire, correct? I mean, I know the ceasefire is technically between the United States and Iran, but at the same time, other countries who've also been mixed up into this have not abided by any sort of ceasefire.
Israel's tentative ceasefire was never part of at the very beginning. They said this is not part of the U.S.-Iran ceasefire. We are still, at first they were still doing all their bombing. But then they reached a tentative ceasefire with Lebanon, which is supposed to be separate.
But there's still stuff happening, and it's all stuff that was perpetuated by the United States.
Well, was it?
I mean, that's what I'm assuming based on what I know for facts, that this was perpetuated by the United States along with Israel's guidance.
There you go. Yes. Well, we did make the decision on February 28th to bomb Iran, and everything since has come because of that decision. So you are exactly right. Did the president make that decision on his own? I don't know. But either way, today's supposed to be the day. Now, a senior administration official spoke on the condition of anonymity, said the hostilities began Saturday, February 28th. Those have terminated. Now, the official said the U.S. military and Iran have not exchanged fire since the 2-week ceasefire. But that's not,
it's because it's a ceasefire.
Not the end of the war.
No,
you have not reached
ceasefire.
Right. There's no peace agreement. There's no declaration. There's nothing. You're just hanging on. So the ceasefire has been extended. Iran maintains its chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, as you know, and the Navy is maintaining a blockade, just like we said before. Now, I read something from somebody who was in Trump's first administration in the Defense Department, and they said that theoretically, what they would advise this administration to do is just rename it. Start a new operation, renamed something else close to this one, and call it a self-defense mission. So that's another way they could skirt the law. Now, if I'm Congress, which we know is really starting to, the Republican support of this war is starting to splinter for a variety of reasons, which we talked about before. At some point, they're going to say, listen, you got to come to, he knows they'll rubber stamp it. But you can't keep putting us over in the corner and not paying attention to us.
I think, and part of, I think, the consternation on some of the GOP members is the fact that they've been in office long enough, literally, to some of them to remember
since the Civil War,
to remember what it was like during all of the other Middle East self-defense missions or wars. These were ongoing. They were years and years and years of troops in and out of trying to keep of a peacekeeping mission of certain attacks. I mean, that's essentially what they were. And there was really never an end in sight, which was the problem for a lot of GOP members when this particular war started, is that they were afraid that that's what it was going to turn into. And it turns out that that's what it has turned into. Now, here's my next question. Is Iran aware that the war is over and that the ceasefire agreement is the end of the war? Okay.
Because they want the blockade out. And just because, Jamie, sometimes we have to check in with our AI overlords. So the question to our AI overlords was, does a ceasefire mean a war is over? A ceasefire is a temporary halt to hostilities, not a peace agreement. It can be used to negotiate terms for a lasting peace. Ceasefires may break down if underlying issues arrive. A ceasefire can lead to more formal treaty, but is not guaranteed. So, no, a ceasefire does not mean the end of a war. A formal peace treaty is needed for a war to be over.
Didn't we have one of those? We had one of those. It was working.
War?
Well, we had a peace treaty.
Oh, we had a deal. We had a deal with Iran. Oh, sure. You're talking about that bad deal that Obama made?
It was a great one, and Iran was actually adhering to it. The UN was doing their inspections, and lo and behold, the nuclear program under that deal in Iran had not actually grown. They were adhering to what was laid out in front of them. We already had that deal.
No, we did have that deal, and you're correct, it was working. And now it's hilarious yet unbelievably frustrating to hear not only the president, but Pete Hegseth and everybody else just screaming out anytime they're asked about the cost of the war, whether it's the cost of oil, the cost of human lives, the cost to taxpayers, all they yell out is, "What's the cost of them having a nuclear warhead?" They didn't have one.
But you told me you obliterated it the first go around.
Well, now
in
now you're
June.
picking nits. Now you're going. Now you're using their own words against them, and that's not how that works. They could say what they want. You can't bring it back up.
I am somebody who likes to dabble in facts and what has actually happened, and apparently I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand anything according to this administration. Lynn in Golden Valley chiming in, listening on WCFW 93.5 The Tap in Eau Claire. She says, I see a lot of GOP claiming they are still against the war. They do not want to be forced to go on record voting yes. That's exactly what it is, especially in midterms where they're losing, and the war is incredibly unpopular among independents, Democrats, and Republicans. So, no, you're absolutely correct. But we have other stuff.
There is more stuff you need to know, and some of it is right here in Wisconsin.
It is. It is. So there's a leaked memo now, apparently, from consultants to U.S. Representative Tom Tiffany's campaign as he runs for governor. And it gives voters a glimpse into how a Republican campaign sizes up its potential competition from the Democratic side. Now, in this particular case, Tiffany's consultants were raising a warning about State Representative Francesca Hong's early momentum in the Democratic primary field, and even went as far as suggesting a strategy for how to prepare for a general election contest against a candidate who identifies as a Democratic socialist. As a counter, Hong's Democratic rivals have pointed to polling showing her as the only candidate losing in a hypothetical matchup with Tom Tiffany. Now, in a statement on Hong's candidacy, Tiffany's camp said that the campaign is prepared to, no matter the outcome of the Democratic Party, because they are all selling the same recycled agenda Wisconsin has endured for 7 years: higher taxes, bigger government, and fewer choices for families. Now, we need to take Francesca Hong seriously is the name of this memo. And it warns in the subject, that's the warning in the subject line, and it was prepared earlier this month by some consultants to Tom Tiffany. Okay. They cited polling that shows Hong's early strength. And in a Marquette poll that was released in late March, around March 24th, Hong led the field with about 14%, followed by former Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes at 11%, and the rest of the field, because remember, there are 7 gubernatorial candidates on the Democratic side, they were all in single digits, but 65% of people were still undecided as of March 24th. It is very early.
And 3 points is not a you're not walking away with it at this point.
No, absolutely. And depending on who you're asking, that's all within the margin of error.
Sure.
The memo compares Hong to other potential Democratic candidates Tiffany could face in the November 3rd general election, viewing her as someone whose nomination is, quote, virtually guarantees elevated Democratic enthusiasm and turnout in Dane County and the Milwaukee media market where statewide races are decided. Now, in contrast, this memo
that makes everybody else who lives in Wisconsin very angry.
This is where it gets tricky, and you're right, because the memo also contrasts that by saying that more moderates and establishment Democratic alternatives would likely produce lower base motivation and depressed turnout. Now, Francesca Hong is 37. She represents Wisconsin's 76th Assembly District in the heart of Madison. She's been in that seat since 2021. She earned acclaim in her early 20s as a chef in Madison, becoming co-owner and co-chef of Morris Ramen, which closed in 2024 after 7 years in business. So I think this is fascinating. I think that whether you want to look at this as just Francesca Hong or not, I think it also tells you exactly how the Tiffany camp is going to basically portray any Democratic gubernatorial candidate, no matter who it is.
And you wonder why, you wonder who leaked it. You wonder why it got leaked at this time. Politics is a dirty business, as we all know. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. The other candidates, like you said, are already saying, what has she done? So it's to sow more discord among the Democrats. It's also to try to disenfranchise rural Democrats,
Of
Democrats
course.
outside of the Milwaukee and Madison markets. So, but it could also backfire because if say you're in Green Bay or say you're up north and you're a Democrat, and now you hear Tom Tiffany go, well, that doesn't read Tom Tiffany's campaign. It wasn't Tom Tiffany.
Right.
It was this memo, maybe a legit memo, maybe not. We don't know, but the memo is out there, and you're going, oh, so he doesn't think we can decide
Right.
an election? Well,
Right.
we'll show the Republicans, won't we? Yes, we will. There's so much more, but we have to take a breather and get a little swipe and or stay in our lives on a Friday. We'll see what Frank brings to the table on the Civic Media Network.
All right.
No, the 20 break I got, Parker.
Yeah, I know.
The round numbers I'm good with.
I know,
I don't
know
like-
you are, but you've got like a 1-2 second delay, and you were at 5 seconds to break.
We're good, brother. I will never stop frustrating you with this.
I know
Yeah.
you.
And it's
No,
not
see-
even it's not intentional. I don't
brother.
want you to think it's intentional. It's not disrespect. It is
No
not.
fancy teacup this morning?
No fancy
okay.
teacup.
Okay.
It's a coffee mug.
I like the fancy cup. It
I
brings a
do
little
too.
class to the
It
operation.
is nice.
I only like it when he has his pinky out.
Exactly. Well, if you're gonna fancy cup it, you got to bring the pinky.
There you go.
Hello.
Are you saying
That
this
way you could wave
lakefront
across
brewery
the-
glass is not fancy?
Oh, that is fancy.
It is
that's
fancy.
very
And
fancy shit.
and
Fancy.
market appropriate.
Yes.
Well, you know me. I like to be market appropriate.
Wearing his Bears and Blackhawks gear. Well, it's not market appropriate yet. Market appropriate for the company.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
day it might be market appropriate for us. Which would be nice.
It's okay. It's Friday.
Yes, it is.
I'm struggling this morning.
Nothing but confidence. Big trust.
Well, don't worry. There's
We're
some
halfway
stories in here that'll wake you right up.
Oh, good.
Oh, I hope there's more Mark Vrabel news.
There is no Mike Vrabel news. I promise.
I stopped I only read one entertainment story because I was like, there's no way Frank is talking about David Allen Coe.
I am not.
So that one I read. Everything else I left.
I think unless we find out that Diana Rossini's kid is Mike Vrabel's kid,
Oh,
we're done talking about it.
all right. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Unless that happens or Vrabel gets fired. Those are the
Okay.
only
Yeah.
two things.
Yeah.
Kraft is never firing Vrabel.
Or it's a
over
murder
an
suicide
affair.
between the two of them.
Whoa.
Well,
Whoa, that went dark.
Whoa.
Yeah, it did.
but yeah, that
15
would also be
seconds.
newsworthy. Yes.
Yes.
10 seconds.
Let's break out of the bubble and see what's happening out there in pop culture. It's Swipe or Stay on Daybreak.
7:22 right now. We hope that you are having a great start to your Friday morning. It is time for Swipe or Stay. This is one of our favorite segments simply because we get to leave the politics aside for a mere 7 minutes. Our senior producer, Frank, joins us so we can talk some pop culture. How are you today?
I'm doing great. And Jamie, I know you're a little bit tired, so don't
I
worry.
am.
I picked some
Okay.
stories that might wake you up. Well, one of them definitely will.
All right. I'm ready with that
All
kind
right.
of like
So
precursor.
That's a good tease.
Friday edition of Swipe or Stay. I'm going to read some pop culture headlines. Brian and Jamie will have to decide whether to swipe on to the next one or stay and hear more about the story. In the event of a tie, producer Parker gets to be the tiebreaker. Story number 1, Taylor Swift drops a massive hint.
Ooh. Do I care about Taylor Swift? This could be wedding. This could be album. This could be a lot of
I'm going to
stuff.
swipe. I'll make my decision fast.
I'll stay.
Parker?
Oh, I'm in the same boat as Jamie. I don't know what it could possibly be about. I'm staying.
Swifties lost their minds yesterday because Taylor's website featured yet another infamous countdown.
Oh.
However, this countdown's background featured the clouds from Andy's room from Toy Story.
Oh.
Really?
Interesting.
See, Brian? It's interesting.
I didn't say it wasn't interesting. I said it didn't interest me. But now I'm
Now
I'm
it
interested.
does.
Now
All right.
I am. Is she going to have a song in Toy Story 5?
So
Is she a voice of a character?
those are the two rumors right now. The countdown
Ooh.
only counted down to May 2nd, aka tomorrow. However, as soon as people noticed what was happening, it was pulled from her website. So we don't know if this was I think it was a misfire.
Point is to get everybody talking.
Yeah, I think this was supposed to launch at a later date and somebody was coding the website
Really?
and
screwed it
accidentally
all up.
published.
Do you screw up like that with Taylor Swift?
Normally
Only
no.
once. One time.
Yeah.
True.
I have a feeling her dad's going to make sure that never happens again as manager to Taylor Swift.
Tree Payne, her publicist, is
T-Pain is her publicist?
Tree Payne. Tree. T-R-E-E.
Oh, I thought you said T-Pain. I was
No,
like,
that would be...
wow, that is
That
a
would be
Man,
fast.
Never
T-Pain
would've
is a
guessed.
savant. Who knew? Marketing
career
genius.
shift.
He was on a boat. All right. But no, as you guys said,
All
we don't
right.
know if she's got a new song for the Toy Story movie or she's going to be a voice in it or this was just somebody goofing off and joked around. So
Interesting.
we'll see.
They
right.
mistook May 1st for April 1st.
I was just going
Right.
to say.
All right. So this is a story that might wake you up. I don't know if you guys saw this. A JP Morgan executive is being sued for sexually abusing an employee.
Stay.
JP Morgan is finance. How does this tie into? Yes, stay. Why am I? You'll give me all the answers. I have questions.
This is everywhere. Parker's already laughing. So Parker, I'm
This is
assuming
just
you.
wild.
Yeah,
I read a
dude.
little
This
bit of
is.
Yeah.
I know this isn't like celebrity news, but this is the talk of the
Pop
town right
culture.
now.
It's
Well,
pop
let's
culture.
go, brother.
So obviously, this is not really a new thing in the corporate world when it comes to abuse of power. However, I will say this is a bit of a twist to it. JP Morgan executive director Lorna Hagini has been accused by a male employee for making him her, quote, sex slave at work.
Wow.
Wow.
He says his female boss made his life a living hell, ordering him to fornicate with her and threatening to destroy his career when he wouldn't.
Whoa.
Wow. Are they
Now,
accepting applications?
Brian, I'm glad you made the joke. A lot of people are. I've been sent many memes, many videos. Now, there are more lewd details to this story. And if you want to hear more, I implore you to go look them up because they are things I cannot say on
Or
the
jump on the
For this
stream
com-
for the show within the show. Look at Parker.
Yeah,
You
dude.
can't say it there either.
It is a wild story. Laura
Wow.
Hagini has denied all allegations.
Wow.
It is bananas.
All
Holy
right.
smokes.
I'm
All
glad we
right.
stayed on that one.
That's exciting on a Friday.
Right.
See, we woke you up.
All right.
All right, next one. Olivia Rodrigo angers Midwest fans.
How'd she do that? She's going to be on Saturday Night Live, I think, tomorrow.
She is.
I think a stay will stay.
Yeah, why'd she? Yeah, I'm a Midwesterner. Don't
Midwest.
anger me.
All right.
I don't even
See,
know who you are.
See, I know how to
Olivia
hook
Rodrigo.
you in. I know how to get you.
Now I want to.
Brian doesn't care about Olivia Rodrigo's music.
She's a singer, right?
Yes.
She is.
Okay, yeah. Why'd she upset us?
So after dropping a new hit single and announcing an album, a tour was sure to follow. And yesterday, Olivia Rodrigo announced the Unraveled tour. And a lot of fans are upset. And I'm talking about the fans that live in the Midwest. Rodrigo will only be playing 4 total shows in the Midwest. 2 nights at the United Center in Chicago and 2 nights at the Schottenstein Center in Columbus, Ohio. And that is it. There is no Minneapolis tour date. There's no Milwaukee tour date. There's no Indianapolis tour date. She is skipping there's no Detroit tour date.
Wow.
Ooh.
This is it. Just those 2 cities and 4 nights, and people are pissed off.
That seems like horrible tour management.
Now, here's the other interesting thing. Olivia Rodrigo's mom is born and raised in Milwaukee. So skipping the state of Wisconsin has a lot of people upset.
Now, is there a
mama.
potential she could add more dates?
I was
So
gonna
there
ask
is
that
a
too.
theory that there will be a second leg of the tour because she's mostly on the
Okay.
East Coast, the West Coast, with just those 2 dates in the Midwest. But you also look at people like Harry Styles, who is coming to the U.S. and is only doing a residency at Madison Square Garden and isn't even going over to the West Coast.
Wow.
So I don't know what to think of this.
Well, he's busy. He's got wedding
I
plans.
think it's time for all Midwesterners to turn against Olivia Rodrigo, burn her albums, take to the streets, and just tell her, we don't want you here in the Midwest.
Brian is going to be going home and destroying his Sour and his Guts albums. Sorry to hear that. That's Swiper Stay.
Don't even know those words you just used.
I know.
When we come back, a very, very interesting conversation. We're going to talk about the rise of Christian nationalism in the country. Stick around. It's very exciting. I'm Brian Noonan. This is Daybreak.
I'm Jamie Martinson, 729 on the Civic Media Network.
All right.
Those were good.
You know, sometimes you get dealt some good cards.
Did you see?
Are there any lewd things you can share?
Yeah. Is
Of
there anything
course.
lewd?
Hold on. Let me pull this
While
back
you're looking
up.
that up, Ozzy Osbourne is dead, but they're releasing a.
I was like,
Oh my
he
God, when?
is.
They're releasing a. They're releasing a
Today's
cologne.
edition of
They're releasing a cologne that's supposed to smell just like him, according
No.
to the company and
Nobody
to
wants
Sharon.
it.
I'm
Does it
already
smell like bat
confused.
heads?
I don't need to smell like I'm confused.
Nobody wants that.
I was like, why do I want to smell like Ozzy? Like
Why wouldn't
I
you?
don't get it.
That's
I
the
didn't get
question.
it.
So the John Doe of this story says that she used her power to pressure him into having non-consensual and humiliating sex acts, including that she admitted to roofing him
Oh my God.
while at one point forcing him to have sex as she scolded him and made him cry. and would also call him, hold on, her little Arab boy toy.
Oh my God. Wow.
Wow, scolded him and made him cry.
Holy buckets.
Wow.
And this is a quote, if you don't F me soon, I'm going to ruin you. Never forget, I effing own you. She went full Aaron Rodgers. She owns you.
Wow.
Discount double check, Parker.
I know.
There you go.
Wow.
Don't gotta tell me. Discount double check.
So yeah, you can imagine
Wow.
the videos and memes that I've been sent in the past 24 hours in my friends group chat from high school.
Wow.
I saw a lot of Mike Vrabel memes
Yeah.
getting entwined with this.
Yeah.
That's very. What was it Disclosure, the Demi Moore, Michael Douglas film to that
Yes.
effect?
I don't know.
Yeah. That was a
Demi-
great movie.
It was a good movie.
Back when movies were good.
You saying you want to make movies great again?
And it didn't take like 7 years to get a good one.
Meh. Meh.
Like, remember when they had actual writers, though, and plots, and, like, you know, there was
No.
the whole thing that went with movies.
And weren't a
and-
reboot?
I was
Right.
looking at a list of movies from the 70s yesterday, and it was unbelievable, the films that came out in the 70s.
Right.
Just where it's like, oh my God.
Parker,
Frank.
have you seen the movie Moneyball?
Moneyball, yeah.
Okay, I'm sending you a video that I think you'll like, but I didn't want to
Remember,
send it to
he
you.
effing owns you.
If you had never seen Moneyball, this wouldn't really play, but since you have, I think this
Immediately
will.
get an Instagram notification.
I had it locked and loaded.
That's hilarious. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers and the discount double check, how screwed are the Steelers going to get when he doesn't actually decide to play?
No, they're going to offer him a king's ransom because they're going to be so desperate to have him play.
Wow. How does
Either
that
way,
guy
Aaron
just keep
Rodgers is going to
resurrecting?
screw him.
Why does he just keep resurrecting? Go retire already.
And do what? Go live with his happy family? Spend more
Nice.
time with them?
He's
He
gonna sit in
seems
the dark.
happy.
Is he?
No.
Go on another ayahuasca retreat?
Well, I think he does that regularly. I mean, they have to give him smelling salts over on the sideline now.
That's wild, Frank.
It's funny, though.
That's really funny.
She gets on base.
Why are people so upset about Elizabeth Smart doing a bodybuilding contest and winning? I don't understand.
Are people upset about it?
Oh my gosh, she's gotten so much
Elizabeth
hate
Smart.
over it.
Really? I saw the
Yes.
pictures. She seems
Good
like,
for her.
Yeah, she's all buffed
She's-
up. She looks like she's been bodybuilding.
She looks like she's been working out. She looks great. I mean, she's got kids. If anybody could look like that after kids, and good for her. Good for her. I don't know why people have to be so upset about stuff.
All right, we got 15 seconds till the pre-record here.
Now back to more of Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We always appreciate it. Hopefully you are having a great Friday. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. According to a recent report from the Public Religion Research Institute, 1/3 of Americans believe that the United States should be a Christian nation. Women are just as likely to hold that belief in Christian nationalism as men. Joining us to talk about that phenomenon and what it means for the future of our country is Andrew Whitehead. Andrew is a professor of sociology and executive director of the Association of Religion Data Archives at the Center for the Study of Religion and American Culture at Indiana University, Indianapolis. Andrew, a long title. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your time today. For purposes of clarity, define for us Christian nationalism, and when did it start to grab hold in this country?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's good to be with you both this morning. So Christian nationalism, the definition that we use that is empirically supported using data, is a desire to see a very particular expression of Christianity fused with American civic life, and wanting the government at all levels to defend and preserve that close fusion of, again, this very particular type of Christianity as central to understanding who we are and what we're all about as a nation. And as we look back over the course of the history of this nation and even before, this particular expression of Christianity has been influential and bound up in how the founding fathers, those in the 18th and 19th century, saw themselves as Americans, and then especially through the 20th century. And what we see today really is kind of an outgrowth of the rise of the moral majority, which was happening in the 1970s. And so it's been with us for a very long time.
Now, you describe this as an ideology that's tied to power and identity. And is this a practice of Christianity? Is this loving just a pure love of your country? And how is this playing out right now in what we're seeing every day?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So first of all, with Christian nationalism, when we're talking about that Christianity of Christian nationalism, again, it's a very particular expression of Christianity. So the folks that embrace it, they do adhere to those kind of orthodox historic beliefs that we kind of associate with that religion. But it also brings with it what I like to call extra cultural baggage. So when they hear Christian, they're not only thinking about, let's say, the divinity of Jesus, but that this country is made by and for a very particular type of people, like white Protestant Christian men who founded this country, and that narrative is key. But also they want this country to look a particular way. And so a lot of the work that we do in social science is kind of highlighting that extra cultural baggage that comes with it. So it is a slice of Christianity, but there are a lot of different expressions of Christianity in this country, and this is only really one type that wants to see itself at the center. And so that is key to kind of understanding what we're talking about with Christian nationalism.
We're talking to Andrew Whitehead. He's a professor of sociology and director of the Association of Religion Data Archives at Indiana University, Indianapolis. So based on this report that I referenced earlier, Andrew, says a majority of Republicans, 56% in fact, were either Christian nationalism adherents or sympathizers. What have you found to be the correlation between the Republican Party and Christian nationalism?
Yeah, so this is a very key point and a great question. So when we look at what's called the rise of the moral majority in the 1970s. These are people like Jerry Falwell, who some might have heard of. They were really influential in tying together what they saw as a lot of evangelical Protestants, very conservative, kind of white religious people who weren't really involved in politics. They wanted to bring them in to the fold of the Republican Party. And so they really worked to say that, hey, if you're a Christian like us, the Republican Party is where you should be. And so that tightened, especially in 1980 with the election of Ronald Reagan, as they were supporting him instead of Jimmy Carter, who actually was an evangelical and was known as the first evangelical president. And so that's where you really see this tight tie together. And since then, we've seen that continue to grow to where if we look at data over time, you'll see a greater and greater percentage of evangelical Protestants, conservative Christians, making up a larger majority of the Republican Party. And so Christian nationalism is a key part of that, because again, it's this desire to fuse together their brand of Christianity with American civic life and to say that this country is ours, it's always been ours, and should maintain itself as ours. And so they have a particular view of where we should go as a nation.
Now, in some of your writings, because I went through your Substack, and because this is a topic that has always been very interesting to me, because it sometimes seems like Christian nationalists are also voting against their own best interests, and so this is always fascinating to me. But you've pointed out that race has played a major role in shaping the modern Christian right, and why is that history so important for people to understand, especially when we look at this administration's war against immigration?
Yeah, so race, since Christianity first came to these shores before the founding of the U.S., race and racism has been intimately intertwined with that, meaning that those people that were bringing Christianity here had to make sense of why this land should be theirs, and what that meant for the indigenous populations that were already here. And also as they brought slaves from Africa, why they should continue to enslave those people on this land. And so when we look at that history, we see that was really when Christianity equaling white and a citizen got tied up with race. And so that kind of gave them, they felt as though this was God's plan for this nation. And so that's been with us forever. It's not saying that folks now necessarily believe that, but the repercussions of that belief and with race are key. And so as slavery was in this land, and we see the separation of who can be Christian or not based on that, and then slavery ends, Jim Crow begins, race has always been a part of religion in the U.S. And so with Christian nationalism, this ideology, race is a very key part of that. And so one thing that I like to point out with this is as we survey the American public, when we ask questions to help us know, do they embrace Christian nationalism or not? None of those questions mention race at all, just if they think this country should be Christian. But what we find over and over is that when they imagine that Christian and we ask them questions about race, we see that Christian nationalism is one of the strongest predictors of believing that this country is for and should be for white Americans. And so again, when they imagine Christian, race is tied up in that as a key part of that. So as we try to understand this current administration and Project 2025, this is kind of a keyhole through which we can understand why race, and as they call it, DEI, is something that we should be afraid of, rather than trying to embrace a pluralistic democratic society where people of all races and immigrants too should have the opportunity to become true citizens and to participate in democracy.
Andrew, earlier you mentioned that the old idea of Christian was the white Protestant male. Mm-hmm. So now we're seeing that as many women as men are embracing Christian nationalism, which seems to go contrary to, as Jamie pointed out, their own self-interest. So a lot of these tenets are completely anti-female. They're whether it's the head of Christian nationalism saying the 19th Amendment was one of the worst mistakes we've ever made, or taking away reproductive rights. Mm-hmm. What then is the draw of Christian nationalism for women who really are going to be subjugated under that belief system?
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways that we can try to understand this and make sense of it. One is that with Christian nationalism, that cultural baggage that I mentioned earlier that gets brought along with it, they legitimate the goodness and reality of that cultural baggage, like the fact that men should be the leaders, women should submit and follow. They legitimate it in the will of the Christian God. And so if God has commanded this, then who are we to say any different? And if God has said, for your nation to flourish, it needs to be ordered in this way where men lead and women submit and follow. And so that is a lot to ask of people to say, well, even though if God commanded it, you should do something different. And so in that sense, it is a very strong pull. But then too, what we see as well is that for women who embrace Christian nationalism, they see the way that they protect their status and what they are in the movement as being connected to a man. And if the man is doing what he should do, then they'll be taken care of, and that their families in this order will be blessed by God, and that they'll be able to do what they need to in this country and have access to the civil benefits and civil rights. And so they're not really worried about those things that you mentioned, right? Access to reproductive rights or voting, because again, they're connected to in this family unit to men who will make sure that all of their desires and needs will be taken care of. And so that's the way that it's talked about and as they view it.
So if those trends continue, Andrew, I mean, if we're talking about voting rights, if we're talking about reproductive rights, representation, inclusion, then what are the risks that come to democracy as we go forward?
Yeah, so this is something that I've written on quite a bit, and I really it's a really good question. It's something we really need to be aware of, is that Christian nationalism at its root, we find over and over, is anti-democratic in the sense that they have a particular vision for what this country should be. And to the extent that democracy allows them to achieve that vision, it's fine. But if it begins to impede them in achieving that vision, they're willing to do away with it, again, because they feel as though this country, in order to survive, has to be blessed by God. And God has commanded that this country should look, again, the way that they believe it should look. And so they'll set it aside. And so we see with Americans who embrace Christian nationalism, who are even just sympathetic with it, as Brian mentioned at the top here, about a third of Americans, we see they're much more likely to be to embrace authoritarian leadership, that we want somebody to come in and take control and enforce order. They're much more likely, it's small numbers, but they're more likely than other Americans to embrace political violence. And so, yeah, when we look at all of these kind of aspects of what it means to live in a democracy where everybody has access to voting, to civil rights, and that we compromise, Christian nationalism over and over really pushes Americans in a direction where they're not willing to compromise, and they really don't want to work with others. They want to achieve that particular vision.
Andrew Whitehead's our guest. He's a professor of sociology at Indiana University, Indianapolis. Just got a little bit over a minute, Andrew. Mm-hmm. So what you just described seems to be what's happening now. There is a small number of people embracing a potentially authoritarian regime. Is there a way to reverse this trend, or are we on a path now that we're going to have to see just how it ends?
I absolutely believe that there is a way forward for those that do believe in a pluralistic democratic society. There are a lot of things pushing back against that, but working together in our communities, accessing voting, making sure others have access to vote. And we've seen these social movements come together. And so the more that we do that and recognize that we do have power together, and trying to open that up to those that maybe are on the margins and making sure that they have access to it as well, will be the way forward for us all, so that everyone, right, can have access to liberty and justice, and not just a few.
Well, Andrew, thank you. It's very enlightening, very interesting. Andrew Whitehead has been our guest. He's a professor of sociology and the executive director of the Association of Religion Data Archives at the Center for the Study of Religion and American Culture at Indiana University, Indianapolis. Andrew, thanks again. That was really interesting and a little bit alarming, but we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, there's a whole lot more. This is Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson, and you are listening to the Civic Media Network.
All right.
Is there another phone-in contest in Richland Center?
I believe so, yes. That's
or
why
is it
people
just
are telling
two
us
people
to leave.
telling us to leave, or the guest to leave, or somebody to leave?
No, it was another contest. They're not telling us to leave.
I wasn't planning on leaving. I was just going to.
Luke Combs tickets.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes, that's right. Last night, multiple people sent me a video of Cinco de Trezo falling down while in first place. I was in shambles.
That was a good interview. I liked.
He was great.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of you guys watch The Boys on Prime?
Yes.
Seen like an episode.
I haven't watched it in a very long time, although my kid is hooked.
This is the last season, and man, it is paralleling everything that is happening in this country.
Isn't Seth Rogen one of the producers of that?
He may be. Yes, he may. I think he is.
Dexter came up the other night, and he's like, I don't want to give a spoiler alert, but Dexter's like,
Well, I've seen all. I'm current.
Dexter goes, what's the main character's name?
Homelander.
Homelander. Homelander has his own Bible. Weird, huh?
Yeah. Huh.
I was like, why are you telling me? He's like, because you're never going to finish season 4 to get to season 5. So it was like, I am working on it.
Yeah, I like the show. I like it. I like all the political incorrectness. I like the
yes.
But man, the parallels.
We got 10 seconds.
Crazy.
Oh yeah.
Fairly solid and better than expected. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's Booker T and the MGs. That's Green Onions. Very nicely done, Parker. It's 7:52 right now. It's the old,
You got to talk it up. There's no hook on Booker T of the MGs because it's an instrumental, but you got to give Time and Temp 2 ways. Jamie, you're an old music jock. Let's go.
It's a great song. I love that song. It's one of the classic instrumentals. I was an oldies jock too, so some of these things.
That's what I'm
just stick
saying.
with
So
my
take
brain.
it up.
Yeah, some of these things.
52 minutes, 7:52, 8 minutes before 8 o'clock. 52 degrees outside. Booker T of the MGs coming at you on a Friday morning. May 1st, rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. Time to talk about sculpture here on the big Daybreak.
I was never nearly that cool.
You weren't a puker?
No, I was not. I was never that cool. That's okay, though. It is a beautiful day, though, on a Friday. A little cool. If you're one of those crazy people who's already put plants in the ground, hopefully you covered them last night because there's some frost still lingering.
Oh, man, I got chastised. A week ago, I was at Costco, and like down the road after Mother's Day, they have beautiful mums. Well, they had some other kind of hanging basket early, and I saw all of these people buying these baskets. And I was like, I'm going to buy one hanging basket just for Debbie for the deck. It'll be nice and blah, blah, blah. Oh man, I couldn't have gotten more disgust. How could you buy flowers before Memorial Day or Mother's Day? You're making mistakes. I was like, yeah, but they're out. Maybe that'll. I said, well, I wouldn't buy the mums till later in the year. But oh man, so
how did it turn out? Are they?
It's
okay
been
this morning?
beautiful. I don't know. I
Okay.
haven't gone out on the deck yet.
Okay.
We've still been getting rain. Even though they're
yeah.
saying no more rain, we're still getting rain. But
We're supposed to have some warmer temperatures this weekend. Pretty cool, though, today, and maybe some chances of rain throughout the weekend with those warmer temperatures. So, I guess spring in the upper Midwest. What are you going to do?
nothing. You're gonna go to Johnsonville, and you are going to gaze upon their big brat sculpture, which I know it's brat because I'm from the Midwest and I eat brats, but I still can't help. Anytime somebody writes out brat, it looks like brat.
It's brat.
You gotta throw the umlaut, I think, over it or something over the A to make us know that it sounds different. But anyway, if you've seen that sculpture, you may think, oh, that looks a lot like the love sculpture that I've seen that I actually have in Legos that Debbie gave me for 1 year for our anniversary that I still haven't put together. But it looks like a lot of things. So a New York jury ruled that an art publisher created unauthorized versions of an artist's work, the artist who created that love sculpture, somewhere toward the end of his life. But Johnsonville is saying, no, ours is authentic. So a jury awarded the for-profit Morgan Art Foundation $102.2 million in damages.
Wow.
Yes, after former business partner of artist Robert Indiana. So that was the guy who was on The Office, right? Robert Indiana? No, there was a different somebody else Indiana was on The Office. Anyway, he sued his art publisher, Michael McKenzie, that according to the New York Times. McKenzie's attorney said he may appeal this, but in a civil complaint filed in 2018 after Indiana's death, the Art Foundation challenged the authenticity of several artworks said to be done by Indiana and alleged that McKenzie interfered with the foundation's trademark rights and copyright for several of Indiana's pieces, including a variety of love prints and metal works. Now, the 20-foot-tall red brat sculpture unveiled at the Johnsonville headquarters in the fall of 2018 was said to be modeled after Indiana's iconic love sculpture. And if you look at it, you say, yeah. Of course it was. It stacks the L and titled O on top of the V and the E. However, the R in brat doesn't follow the same tilt as the O in love.
Is that how they think they get by without any sort of copyright or any sort of infringement at that point? We tilted it the other way.
Well,
it's
that
not
is
the same.
that is you jest, Jamie, but that is in fact, yes, they're saying that although the brat sculpture is not explicitly named in the original complaint, a court filing from the defense said Indiana and his caretaker, who was assigned as Indiana's power of attorney, granted McKenzie permission to produce Indiana's artwork like USA Fun, Wine, Hope, and Brat. The defense also said in the filing that Indiana would examine works and approve them, and the Brat sculpture was developed by Indiana, Johnsonville, and Mackenzie's art publishing company, American Image Art. Johnsonville is not and has never been party to this lawsuit, a Johnsonville spokesman said in his statement to the Sheboygan Press. The jury verdict did not make any findings regarding our brat sculptor. I still think it's cool. I know it'll always be compared to that sculpture because it is. It
is.
Whether it's a copy, whether it's original, whether it's, it's like hanging a piece of art on your wall and it being a print. It still looks great.
It still looks great. I just hope I'm important enough one day that people care about anything that I've ever done or say to this degree. Like that you would have to go through this much trouble in a court of law with other people involved that of anything that I've ever done that people care this much. It's never going to happen. That's cool. I can live with it. But I just think these cases are, I get they're important, but I also think they're hilarious all at the same time.
Well, and Indiana did get several $100,000 in royalties.
Yes.
For doing this. And he said he hoped that the Johnsonville sculpture would increase exposure for his other works. So win-win, I guess, because now we're all talking about. I didn't realize that this sculpture was at Johnsonville. Now I got to put it on
I
my
feel like I have to
crazy
go there.
Wisconsin road trip map.
Right. I feel like this is one of those places. And let me tell you, there are some crazy Wisconsin road tripping
I
things
know.
that you can do in this state. I mean, there are some really quirky roadside
Giant
attractions.
fish. There's all kinds of things.
There's like a silo that looks like a beer can, all of that kind of stuff
Oh,
over
that's
by La Crosse.
Yes, that's the Holy Grail. That's the 6-pack of Old Style at the G. Heilman Brewery. Trust me, I've made many pilgrimages to that, and I have actually stood outside the giant 6-pack drinking an Old Style because why not?
I mean, you can go to fiberglass graveyards in this state. There are so many cool things that you can do. Now I got to add a brat statue.
We got to take the show on the road. Just do
it
from all these crazy spots. All right, well, if you're listening on WMDX, you'll be going to the Stephanie Miller Show, but you can still listen to us if you want on the free Civic Media app, or go to Facebook, our page, Daybreak with Brian and Jamie, or go to the YouTube stream and you can catch the last hour of this program. But if you miss it and you want to catch it later, we can do it.
Mr. Plow King says we have to go visit the pink elephant.
Where's the pink elephant?
I don't know. Now I have to look it up.
Mr. Plow King, talking up a post like a true radio jock. You know it. A tribute to all my brothers in sound. I've never done music. Well, I did music radio in college, but that doesn't really count. Yeah, because I didn't have my chops back then, Parker. I didn't know how to talk it up.
I should have, but I didn't. So,
there it is.
Radio either.
It's in DeForest. It's Pinky the Pink Elephant.
Really?
RoadsideAmerica.com. I'm looking at it, and Pinky has glasses on.
Frank, DeForest is where the liquor store that I follow on Instagram that always has unbelievable bourbon prices. So maybe we kill two birds with one stone.
These glasses are awesome.
Why does Pinky wear big glasses? Why does Pinky have hair?
Pinky needs to see.
Like Pinky has a straight down the middle.
Hair? Oh,
yes.
He does have hair.
Wow. All right.
He looks a little disheveled.
Well, he's an elephant who has glasses. Be disheveled too.
I mean, with that hair.
Wow.
That's quite the part.
It is a really aggressive part that Pinky has. Wow. I had no idea this existed. Now I want to go see it. All right. Finding things to do over the weekend. It's way better than laundry.
Right next to a shell. Awesome.
Wait a minute. There's a nut. I'm seeing a different Pinky the elephant.
What?
I'm seeing one at Casino Queen Marquette in Marquette, Iowa. He's wearing a top hat.
Iowa too.
Wait.
Is this a thing? Can I go on a Pinky the Elephant tour and see different Pinkies?
This is.
I don't know. This is at the Casino Queen in Marquette, Iowa. Nestled along the banks of the upper Mississippi River.
Look at that hat. He's a dapper elephant.
He's a dandy. That Iowa Pinky is. I haven't seen. I can't find a picture of the one in.
Why is Wisconsin so nerdy?
I don't know. All I'm seeing is the top hat elephant.
Do one for do a search for DeForest.
Pinky the Elephant, DeForest. Wow. You just go Pinky the Elephant. DeForest has to up there. Oh well, now I like this one. It looks like the same elephant, just different.
It does.
Like it's Clark Kent and Superman.
Yes.
There you go.
But yeah, this one, at least the DeForest one just kind of looks like they dropped him on the side of the road. Like somebody was like, "All right, Pinky," they couldn't keep him at home anymore, and they just abandoned him we're going to stop and go to the bathroom, Pinky. Everybody out to go potty, and then they got the car drove away.
Right, they didn't leave with Pinky.
And he's got rosy cheeks.
He does.
Got a little rosacea working there, Pinky.
I'm trying to figure out. He is situated near a Shell gas station and convenience store with fresh local goods. It's the world's largest pink elephant statue, according to the World Record Academy. Life-sized, wears giant glasses, and the gas station sells Pinky souvenirs. Well, of course they do.
Oh, come on.
Well, of course.
There's a plaque, the story of the pink elephant.
The sculpture was made in Sparta, Wisconsin, where the graveyard, fiberglass mold graveyard is, which is a really fun, hella cool place, by the way.
All right. That sounds fun, too.
It was first home to the front of the Pink Elephant Supper Club in Iowa in 1963 before finding a permanent place in Wisconsin.
I wonder if that's why there's the Iowa one too, because a top hat means supper club. That seems
so
to
Pinky's
go together.
traded ownership over the years, and obviously the statue has attracted visitors of all generations for 70 plus years.
Wow, the things you learn on this
Right?
program.
Thank you, Mr. Plow King.
Yeah,
You
Mr.
taught me
Plow
something
King,
today.
kudos. If we had a prize, I'd send you one, but we don't, so don't get all crazy. I can't do it.
He says he has a pic of my dog with Pinky, but not sure how to send it.
Text it to us.
Text it, yeah. Text it to
752-4842.
Or in
There
the
you
app.
go.
Or in the app.
Yeah, and then we'll put it up and talk about it. That's
Here, I'll
hilarious.
put there. Text that number at the bottom of the screen.
Wow.
Pinky the pink. Now I wonder the one in DeForest they just call it the pink elephant. The one in Iowa is actually named Pinky the elephant.
Yeah.
Like Smokey Bear or Smokey the
Right.
Bear. I know.
Interesting.
Parker. I know.
Interesting.
Wow. Yeah, I love all that the
I
crazy
learned
roadside
something
stuff.
today. I love learning stuff in the morning.
Especially when it's goofy stuff.
Right?
It's just fun.
I can find no good elephant music.
Baby elephant walk.
The baby elephant walk.
Baby elephant.
After the show, let me tell you why I laugh. After the show, I'll tell you all why that makes me laugh so hard.
Oh, is this what I want? Oh, this is what I want. Okay, yeah.
I will tell you after the show why this makes me laugh so hard. This song. Oh, God.
Boy. All right, well, 10 seconds till we're back.
Across the state of Wisconsin, Daybreak with Brian and Jamie is back.
It's 8:06 right now. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. You are listening to the Civic Media Network. This is such a great song. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. Yes, we have spent the last 7 minutes doing because
best
Mr.
7 minutes of
Mr.
our
Plow
life.
King, who listens every morning on the stream, and we thank him for that, sent a message about, oh, you guys should go see Pinky the Elephant in DeForest. Well, so we start. Jamie, of course, started diving in. Then Parker jumped in. Then I jumped in. We've all been looking. Now there's a difference because I
something.
Google searched Pinky the Elephant, and I came up with a giant elephant in a top hat outside a casino in Iowa. Mm-hmm. The one in DeForest, which is where the other the elephant is just called the Pink Elephant.
Yes.
Either way, phenomenal.
Phenomenal. And the one in DeForest has glasses and the most aggressive part I've ever seen with hair.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm
That
so
elephant
excited.
colors its hair, Jamie. No
It
pink
does.
elephant should have jet
does.
black Ronald Reagan hair.
But then I dug into the story a little bit, and it turns out that the statue in DeForest is over 70 years old. It's changed ownership over the years, but it used to be outside a supper club in Iowa. So we're thinking that at some point it means that maybe, just maybe, the top hat elephant is an homage in Iowa to the elephant that now lives in DeForest. We don't
That
know
is
for
crazy.
sure. But
Parker, if you can, Mr. Plow King texted us a picture of
Yes.
his dog with the pink elephant.
Yes.
Oh, I
And you
wanna
get a
see.
great shot of the hair and it's almost like
wanna
Harry
see.
Carey glasses.
I love that Mr. Plowking just put his dog's leash around the trunk of
Yeah.
the elephant.
Well, how else
This
you going to
is
get the dog to
fantastic.
pose with the elephant?
that is the best photo.
It's a fantastic picture.
So we'll put it up. We'll put it up somewhere where we
And
can
that's a
share
good
it.
look
Yeah.
at puppers out there in front of the elephant too.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh, my
goodness, that is fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Plowkin.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Plow King. Now enough frivolity and pink elephant talk, because normally I don't see pink elephants unless I'm drunk and watching Fantasia, and then they come. But those are hippos; those aren't even elephants. and they're doing.
I feel like that's a state of being for where we're at in politics. But go ahead.
All right. Well, we got a few headlines out of the war, Jamie, and we have to hit that. President Donald Trump said that no one knows the status of talks with Iran aside from himself and a handful of others, which are the voices in his head, so himself and his other personalities, suggesting the negotiations are advancing despite the appearance of a standstill. Iran's revised peace proposal could come today, according to sources. That's how the whole thing started, and he said this about a gut feeling, because everybody said to him, well, there's no evidence that Iran posed a nuclear threat. I had a feeling. All right, Black-Eyed Peas, you got a feeling?
We'll go with that. In other news out of the Middle East, Trump also criticized congressional efforts aimed at limiting his war powers as lawmakers and U.S. officials disagree on whether a legal deadline for the use of military force without congressional authorization has passed. Here's the thing. These powers exist for a reason. The congressional oversight also exists for a reason.
Of course
and I know it would be stunning if this GOP actually used their authority in Congress to have some sort of oversight of the president. I'm not going to hold my breath until I see them actually do something. However, they are doing their job, Mr. President. Those are powers that have been outlined in this and laws that have been outlined in this country for a very long time. And they are actually potentially doing a job.
Well, but when you believe yourself to be above the law and above the rules, and you have no one who is proven to you otherwise, because you have in fact operated above the law, even with all the indictments, there's nothing really that happened from that.
Right.
There's nobody in Congress or the court who is standing up to him. So why not just thumb your nose at everything else? Tension between the U.S. and its European allies over the war has reached new heights, with the president threatening to pull U.S. troops from Germany, Italy, and Spain. And we have troops in those places for important strategic reasons, but he does what he wants. He is truly a mad king, and someone needs to stand up and say, enough. You can't keep doing this.
In final news out of the Middle East, oil prices rose today, but held below four-year peaks hit yesterday as negotiations to end the Iran war remained at a standstill, and the Strait of Hormuz stayed closed to most shipping traffic. Brent crude futures for July, that's the global benchmark, rose by about 1% to $111 per barrel, having jumped sharply yesterday before falling back at the close. I mean, if you're filling up your car right now, especially here in the upper Midwest, where there's also issues with refineries where we get a lot of our gas and oils, you know that you're paying a lot at the pump right now. And
estimates that I've seen is it will take, even if the war ended today, which I guess according to the president it's over, even though it's not, it would take about a year to get things back down to normal, or back down to where they were before the war started.
And yesterday, I thought it was fascinating in the Oval Office with the press. The president told the American people that oil prices and gas prices would go down almost overnight. As soon as the war is ended, as soon as this conflict is over, gas prices you'll see an immediate plunge in gas prices. That's not how
according
it works.
to one of the Florida congressmen who was caught outside the Capitol yesterday, gas prices have not gone up. They have in fact gone down.
Yes.
And he said this with a straight face. He wasn't leaving a bar where you could go at 3 a.m. where you could go, oh, he's probably drunk. He was stone sober coming out of the Capitol and with a straight face said to a reporter, no, gas prices have gone down.
That's the craziness of what we're seeing, right? You have a representative from the state of Florida telling us that gas prices have not actually gone up. You have the president who is trying to tell us that the war is over and peace has been achieved, who told us that when the war ends, just yesterday, when the war ends, then gas prices go down. I mean, which is it? Where are we at?
Well, we know where we are. We know where we are because we're out in the world. And we also follow this and we speak up about it, and so do a lot of people. But I'm flummoxed by how do you, as a little kid, can you imagine getting away with all these lies? No. And as a kid, you were taught not to lie. You were punished if you were caught lying. Now, people lie with impunity, and they lie so much that I don't even think they know anymore that they're lying. It's just they've created a reality, and it goes back to the, well, my truth and my facts. No, there's truth and facts, and that's it. But now they just, whatever pops into their little heads, they say it as if it's true. And there are, I hope it's a shrinking number, but there are a number of people who will still believe it.
Of course.
Which is amazing. I would like to have some S we need to know that doesn't have the T word in it. Do we have any of that stuff we need to know?
It's a wake-up call in more ways than one. Time for some you need to know.
Oh, all right. Hey, this
Turns out.
This one has nothing to do with the T. It is local. Democratic candidate for Governor Mandela Barnes is crisscrossing the state this week to promote his goal of lowering utility rates, a household cost both political parties are putting front and center as Wisconsin voters point to the cost of living as their biggest worry. And sidebar, go check out our podcast with Mandela Barnes on Spotify, where he talked about this a week ago. So we broke it to you before anybody else. A little self-promotion? You bet. It's Friday. You can at me. I don't care. The focus on utility costs comes as Wisconsin's electricity costs continue to outpace those of most of its Midwestern counterparts. That's good news for us, isn't it? Polling by the Marquette University Law School in March showed 35% of voters surveyed said that the cost of living was the most important issue to them. No other issue came close to receiving a similar level of attention. Barnes held a news conference in Milwaukee on Wednesday and will head to Green Bay and La Crosse in the coming days to campaign on a plan he released earlier this year that seeks to keep utility costs down. He is pledging to freeze those costs if elected, as well as place limits on utilities' lobbying activity and executive pay, shift the cost of shuttered coal plants away from the ratepayers, and offer state tax credits for energy efficiency home improvements. Now, Mandela Barnes said he would only appoint commissioners to the state's Public Service Commission who would freeze utility rates, denying any proposed increases from utilities. Utility experts have said the promise may be legally questionable and unworkable, but that hasn't stopped him from saying he's going to do it. He is one of the 7 Democrats running for governor, and you know whoever gets the most votes in August will face Tom Tiffany in November.
I think that this is an interesting approach because when you look at elections that have been held across the country, right, the biggest factor for the candidates that have won, the Democratic candidates who have upended Republican seats and flip seats, and whatever you want to say, cost of living. That's been their entire approach going in. The economy and the cost of living. And in Wisconsin right now, there is no bigger story than the utility hike and the data center story and how much we're actually paying at pumps and groceries. So I think if you were a Democratic candidate, just as somebody who observes these things and is, one of those people paying for those high-priced items, I think if you have an actual plan to decrease costs that is feasible and helps people put a little extra in their pocketbook, I think that's what you go with because that's the thing that people are most worried about right now.
Well, and we want to hear a plan. That's the main thing. We want to hear a plan. And again, you can go to our Spotify page, Daybreak with Brian and Jamie, and listen to Mandela Barnes explain all of that to us. Hey, Jamie, more stuff we need to know without the T word in it.
I love it. Republican Senator Jesse James has been named as the next police chief of the Chippewa County village of Lake Hallie. Now, the appointment comes 2 weeks after he announced he was dropping his Senate campaign, which complicated the GOP's efforts to defend a slim majority in the chamber. A press release said James brings extensive law enforcement leadership experience to the role, including prior service as chief of police for the Altoona Police Department in neighboring Eau Claire County. According to the Lake Hallie city administrator, Jesse demonstrated strong leadership, approachability, and a clear understanding of the role law enforcement plays within a growing community. I've had the opportunity of working with Senator James. Now, he and I might not agree on everything all of the time, but I commend his work that he has done in the Senate. He's been a huge advocate for not only mental health, but kids' mental health. health. He is also the only working police officer who was serving. And so I do commend the work that he's done on several different levels in the Senate. And I do want to issue a correction for myself. Yesterday we were talking, we were able to discuss that Andre Jacques has also stepped out of the race. And on a quick whim, I did a little research. We came up with 10 GOPers throughout the state that have stepped down. It is actually 14.
Ooh,
14
all right.
GOPers have in the House and the Senate. I believe it is, or in the Assembly, it is 8 in the Assembly and 6 in the Senate that are not running this year. Or re-upping their campaigns. So 14.
Listen, we should have buried, just like the newspapers, we should have buried that correction like at the last 10 seconds of the show.
I don't like to be wrong.
Oh, I know you don't.
I was not correct, and so I wanted to make sure I stated that I was not correct, and I do know the actual number now. 14.
All right, 14. Well, we've got about 30 seconds. The president yesterday said ABC had better fire Jimmy Kimmel soon. He went on Truth Social. He said, when is ABC fake news network firing seriously unfunny Jimmy Kimmel, who incompetently presides over one of the lowest rated shows on television? People are angry. It better be soon. 3 exclamation points. He is wrong about Kimmel's ratings. He is right that some right-wing MAGA influencers are mad at Jimmy Kimmel. But Disney, no sign of wavering. Stand tough, Disney. That's good. When we come back, a job that is coming to Wisconsin public schools that I thought should have been there all along.
Right.
It's Daybreak on the Civic Media Network.
Started with the baby elephant walk, ended with I Got a Feeling. That's a good block.
Yeah, man. Banging it out.
Friday A game.
I love a good Friday.
Everybody does but Jesus.
Oh.
One of my friends texted me. She's listening online this morning, and she is in the Twin Cities. And she's like, I could have listened to the Christian nationalist guy for like an hour.
Cool.
She's like, he was fascinating.
Yeah. We got to find another reason to get him back next month or something.
Yeah. She's like, he was absolutely fascinating. She's like, I'm pouring through his Substack right now. She's like, it's an interesting phenomenon, the Christian nationalists. So I was like, well, you're welcome.
Yeah. I still want to get somebody to talk about that indoctrinating young white men.
I have somebody that this is a topic Maggie actually covered, and I found a couple of really great resources. We actually covered it after Charlie Kirk's assassination. It was only on the show once, and so I can give Frank all of
I have
my...
a guy too. I got to give Frank his name, who talks about, you can see he's a doctor who talks about cults and indoctrination and stuff.
Yep.
So
Luke, the guy I have works at one of the universities, and he this is what he does. He was in the military, and he basically goes online now in his fellowship and submerses himself in these groups to learn about them and study about them, and fascinating world.
Or we just get Parker to get indoctrinated so we know what
there
it's
we go.
like. We follow Parker's journey from rational young professional to
Couple seconds till we're
indoctrinated
back.
right-wing psychotic.
Local voices, statewide impact. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:22 right now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Hopefully you are having a great Friday. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. We're glad you're here. If you want to jump in, 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. Does it surprise you that Wisconsin schools did not have literary coaches or literacy coaches? Literacy coaches are, for the uninitiated, teachers who specialize in reading, because as you know, there's some children who have trouble reading for whatever reason. Lots of different reasons kids have trouble reading, but they need enhanced learning or instruction when it comes to that, because classroom teachers don't have enough time to teach not only the basic reading lessons, but then give one-on-one attention. Well, 50 public and 4 private schools across Wisconsin, including 15 in Milwaukee, are going to hire literacy coaches over the next 2 years under Act 20, the state's 2023 literacy law. Can't believe it took till 2023 to make, it's pretty important that kids read. Is it? Then they start thinking for themselves. How can we confuse them if they know what we're talking about? So the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction announced the selected schools on April 29th. The literacy coaching program, which was created under Act 20, is backed by more than $9 million in state funding lawmakers approved last year. The coaches are going to work with teachers to improve reading instruction and aim to increase the number of students meeting grade-level reading standards by the end of 3rd grade, that according to the DPI. Nearly 37% of Wisconsin students in 4-year-old kindergarten through 3rd grade scored below the 25th percentile on early literacy assessments last school year. That according to state data. The screeners evaluate students on reading skills and identify children at risk of reading difficulty. Now, the reason this shocks me so much is the schools I was at. That's it. That's grammatically correct. I need some literacy coaching, Parker. See how that works? I didn't have a literacy coach. I learned it on the streets where tough kids always learned literacy. I learned to read by dirty magazines at the newsstand. That's how I learned to read. Braille. Anyway, we had literacy coaches. Not only literacy coaches, but then literacy specialty literacy teachers who would pull groups of students out throughout the day and give them small group instruction. And the struggle to get kids to grade level is something that doesn't get fixed overnight. Sometimes it takes these kids years to get up to grade level if they ever are able to achieve it. And again, there's so many different reasons that kids struggle with reading. So this is a great move on the DPI's part. It seems to be coming a little late, but better late than never, I guess.
And what I find interesting about this is it is going to be big and small school districts. So places like, as you mentioned, Milwaukee, but also Kenosha, Green Bay, Beloit, and then also some really small districts like Rice Lake, Richland Center, North Fond du Lac, also Adams Friendship, Bloomer, Viroqua. So this is really stretching the gamut. The one thing that I think is troubling to me, and this is a really great start, and I'm all for this. I think reading is one of the most fundamental things that our kids, skills our kids should have. And I am an avid reader myself. My kids were avid readers. I remember spending a lot of time with them when they were little, because that was the one skill. As a homeschooling parent, I was like, you know what? Everything else will work through. You are going to learn to appreciate books, and you are going to learn to appreciate the skill of reading, because it is so important. Yeah. We have 421 public school districts in this state. And so kudos to the 9 million and to the 50 plus districts that are going to be getting this, but we still have a lot of work to do in the state of Wisconsin. That's what that tells me.
And this is very in the weeds. And unless you have young kids in school, or you're a teacher yourself, you might not, this might not mean anything to you, but I'm very excited. In addition to creating the coaching program, the law requires public school districts to focus on using a phonics-based method that focuses on sounding out letters, and it gets rid of this dumb 3-cueing thing that we had to use for a number of years, which encourages students, if they don't know the word, to get context clues. So you're looking at pictures, you're looking at maybe one letter in the sentence, you're trying to figure out if it's logical. You cannot read if you don't know what the letters sound like.
Right.
And I grew up learning phonics.
Yep.
I've taught phonics. My daughter grew up learning phonics. It's the only way you can read. But districts across the country chase these different curriculums that are supposed to be the new secret.
Yes.
Sometimes there is no new secret. The secret is a B sounds like b, b, b. Yeah. And a C can sound like k or
ka.
Yes. That's the secret. You have to know that. And then even at a rudimentary level, you start putting those sounds together.
Yep.
And you may be off with because, again, our English is very confusing with letters having a couple of different sounds. But that's the only way you can do
you know how many
this.
times in a day in a week, I still use the I before E except after C
Always.
rule?
Always.
I use that rule all the time, yet I'm 47 years old. And phonics, I agree with you, are super important. My older son was 2 when he started reading. He is on the spectrum, very high functioning, very, very high IQ. At first, we thought he just had books memorized. Turned out he actually knew the words.
Nice.
So he was reading when he was 2 years old. And no phonics though, because he read at such a young age.
But that's a unique case.
No, it is very unique. But I find it funny because now, even yet at 22, if there's a word he's unfamiliar with or a name of a town, and he goes to say it, I'm like, dude, we should have really worked on your phonics because because he just doesn't have that base.
Right.
Going back to what you're saying, how to sound things out because he was so young.
You and I have to do this all the time with names of people. And countries are different. And it's like, all right, this is how it sounds, but that's probably not the way it's pronounced. But you have to know. So it's all good news, and
good step in the right
it's going to take some time, but hopefully it'll get more kids reading because, man, I don't know. I feel bad for people who get to a certain point in their life and they still can't read. Does Wisconsin's economy feel better or worse to you right now? 855-75-CIVIC. That's what we're talking about next. It's Daybreak, and this is the Civic Media Network.
Yeah, even yet, Max will go to say like the name of a town or something, and I'll be like, wait, what did you just say to me?
Yeah.
And he's a great reader. Don't get me wrong. He's a great reader. He just didn't have exactly what you're saying, that fundamental way of sounding things out. He doesn't even know how to do that because he started reading at such a young age.
Oh, if you're watching the show within a show, there's Mr. Plow King's dog with the pink elephant.
Look at that. Oh, that's such a great photo. That is a really good-looking dog, by the way.
It's a very, very cute
dog. That elephant looks like it used to work on Mad Men.
I was thinking like an old school news anchor, right, with the glasses and the hair.
Yes, for the Savannah News Network.
That's right.
Broadcasting across the African Savannah.
There you go.
It's time for the news.
Mr. Plowking says Chase is a good boy. What does he have? Some like Basenji or something in him with that curly tail? Because that's what he looks like to me. Because Basenjis have that like really curly long tail. He's gorgeous though. I love dogs.
That's hilarious.
My favorite.
But
great statue, great photo.
Where is that? It's just out there in a parking lot.
Next
it's outside
to Sinclair. It's Shell Station. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's outside of Shell. They're supposed to have the dinosaur.
This one has.
Oh no, Sinclair has a dinosaur.
Dinosaur. Shell can have whatever they want.
That's true.
He is full Basenji.
Good eye, Jamie.
Gorgeous. Look at me with my dog knowledge this morning.
Yeah, really. God, nice flex.
I am such a nerd.
Nerd!
Thank you. There are times even I'm like, oh my God, that is too much.
Go outside, nerd.
Go outside, nerd.
So do Basenjis have that weird bark though, right? If I remember right, that's the reason I know Basenjis, because they have like a weird, if I'm thinking of the right one, they have a different bark. Are they the ones that have like almost a yodel sound? I can't remember.
Boy, I don't know.
Oh God, I don't want my dog to yodel.
I can't remember.
Desperately.
It is breakfast time.
I have to look. Yeah, yes, they yodel. Okay, good. That's the only reason why Basenjis stick out to me so much, because they have that crazy curly tail and then they have a yodel bark.
A yodel bark.
All right, well now I gotta find it.
Parker, I'd like yodel barking to rejoin. It's like another thing I've been seeing a lot on Instagram is something that, whatever the first part is, remember what the goat said, and then they cut to the goat screaming.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Oh, my other favorite are those pugs. Have you seen those French bulldogs and those pugs that yell? They just sit in their little car.
No.
Are you listening to a yodel bark? Yeah, it's crazy. They yodel.
This is annoying as hell.
They yodel. Some point they'll watch videos of. Yeah, that's a Basenji.
Oh, that would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
That's almost like a bloodhound or
Yes.
a beagle.
It feels husky-ish.
That's what
Yeah.
Aspie sounds like. Aspie doesn't bark. That's what she sounds like. She's not Basenji at all, but that's just how she sounds.
It makes me laugh
on
when
identity
dogs howl
crisis.
like that, when they literally throw their head back
Oh,
and
yeah.
do the
Yeah.
It cracks me up.
No, sometime when you're online, if you want to see the funniest thing, it would annoy the crap out of you after a while, but watch a French bulldog because they're so funny. They basically scream about everything.
Very high maintenance.
They are high maintenance. Frenchies are the best. They're like curmudgeonly old men sitting like in a chair, just yelling at the world.
Those bulldogs though are so inbred. It's tough because that's Molly. Molly originally wanted all she wanted was a French bulldog.
Oh,
But then she met
they've got
Walter.
so many problems.
Yep, she met Walter and he was it. So
No, Frenchies have a lot of problems.
my brother had
plus-
an English bulldog once, and that dog was the dumbest thing on four legs. It scared itself in a mirror. He had a mirror that was like sitting on the floor, leaning up the wall, very artsy. The dog came running out of the bedroom, turned the corner, saw its reflection, let out a yelp, and took off the other way. I'm like, oh, you are dumb.
10 seconds to her back.
It was hilarious.
Want to join in on the conversation? Call or text 855-75-CIVIC. Now back to Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:35 right now. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday morning. If you are listening in Hayward on WBZH or in Wisconsin Rapids on WFHR or even in Appleton and Oshkosh on WISS, we are glad that you decided to join us. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. All right, the numbers say one thing, but to you, does Wisconsin's economy feel better or worse for you right now? Let us know, 855-75-CIVIC. That's 855-752-4842. And I say the numbers tell a different story because according to numbers, the economy is still growing in Wisconsin. They show that growth is clearly slowing and that the shift is starting to show up in jobs, hiring, and unemployment. State data shows about 109,500 people were unemployed in March, which is an increase both from the previous month and from a year ago, pushing the unemployment rate up to 3.5%. That marks 3 straight months of gradual increases. We all know how, and I know prices and the economy are different. I'm not an economist. It's the one class I dropped in college, economics. I'm not well versed in it, but I do know that it's different because you could say, well, the economy is booming. Is it when we're paying over $4 a gallon for gas? Our rents are going sky high. Our grocery prices are going up. So while the numbers tell you one thing, how are you feeling? Because the way it's going now, it's trending toward the economy, even the numbers not supporting the line of, oh no, the economy's doing well.
I mean, you feel it every time you swipe your card, right? You do.
Yeah, especially when the buzzer goes off and they take it and cut it up.
You know, and you mentioned gas prices. They're now at some of the highest levels that we've seen in 4 years, especially in parts of southeast Wisconsin. You pull up to the pump and suddenly you're doing a little math in your head because you're like, how much can I actually put in today? Because we've all been there, right? We're all there. And when you start having people feeling like that is not a strong economy, even though these unemployment numbers are I'm told that I'm supposed to believe something else because of the unemployment numbers.
Well,
That's
we
not a
talked to
strong
Ricardo
economy.
Torres yesterday, and that came
Yes.
up because he mentioned that 8,500 manufacturing jobs have been lost in Wisconsin, and that there wasn't enough personnel to fill these gaps.
Right.
But then we hear that there's all these people. There's 109,000 people, almost 110,000 people unemployed last month. So where is the disconnect? But
Right.
that's what they're saying. We've got all these people who aren't working. yet we're losing jobs that can't be filled. We're losing manufacturing, and not big layoffs, not factories shutting down, just people retiring or moving on to other things. It is a trend that is concerning because it has been constantly there's small gains, but then the small losses keep adding up and keep increasing.
And when you look at what's happening with the unemployment rate in Wisconsin, essentially we have kind of bucked the trend of other states. We seem to be doing better than other states, but I feel like it is considered relatively low, even by our historical standards that we're seeing in other places. But the steady climb, I feel like, is a warning sign that there's things that are losing strength, right? Mm-hmm. And we can feel that each and every day. I mean, we're seeing deeper cracks underneath the surface of all of this. And then you also have to look at what's happening with younger workers, right? Recent college graduates. We've got an entire class of people who are going to be in just a few weeks looking for jobs as they graduate. That is a very good indication of how your economy is usually doing if your new grads can get jobs, and it is getting very complicated.
Well, and other than Milwaukee and Madison, a lot of new grads are moving out of state. That's the big problem with the teacher shortage, is that we are losing teachers who were educated in Wisconsin and trained in Wisconsin are moving elsewhere. People are moving elsewhere for a lot of other reasons, and we're stuck. We're stuck with a shrinking shrinking employment pool, and an increase in need for jobs that is creating this tough moment where you go, okay, the economy isn't cratering, but it's not doing great.
I mean, if you have a recent college grad or in your family or, in your house, because a lot of recent college grads are moving back home because it is not cheap to live right now.
Wait, you can't just get out of college and buy a house now?
Turns out that's not how it goes anymore.
No, you can't.
No, you can barely
I thought
afford
that's
rent.
the bill of sale you were sold, Parker, that you'd get a degree and everything would be fine.
Yeah, I'm told I'm fine.
All right.
This is the
Not by us.
This is the toughest job market that grads have seen since 2020, going all the way back to the pandemic. Unemployment is over 40% for them, meaning that a lot of our grads are working jobs that don't even require their degree. We talked with Ricardo yesterday. It's another good point that he brought up when you talk about these manufacturing jobs and his great article over the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. When you talk about these manufacturing jobs, they're not being backfilled by young people because they're just simply not trained. That's not what their degrees are in. And some of these jobs are specialized enough in the manufacturing sector, which, by the way, backbone of Wisconsin's economy. They can't just go in and step in because that's a lot. You hear that from a lot of people. Well, there's plenty of jobs to be had. Well, they still have to be trained in something. They still have to know how to do the job. You can't just necessarily walk into some of these manufacturing jobs and just step foot to a machine and start doing something. That's not actually how that works.
Well, you can't do that with any job, really. There's very few jobs that you can just walk in. I mean, technical producer, you could wander in off the street and start pushing buttons. But most jobs, you have to at least talk show host. You could do it too. You got an opinion? Yeah, come in, sit down, start talking. All right, perfect. But most jobs you at least need some training. But yes, the more specialized jobs, machinists, things like that, you serve your internship, you grow into it. But even then, you realize, and when people go into the trades, they realize they have to serve their internships and apprenticeships rather, and then they move up. But you're on a career path.
Sure.
Right now, we have job openings for people who are not trained. They haven't put in that time on that career path.
Right.
So we're having that issue with unemployment. But at some point, we got to figure it out. There's this, and that's the hard part. It's pointed out in this issue. Again, we pointed it out yesterday with Ricardo. That's one of the big problems is the disparity between unemployment and job openings. And we have to figure out how to bridge those gaps. And if it means retraining people, there's also job openings in jobs that if you've, and this is not to sound elitist, but if you're graduated from college, you really don't want to go work for $7 at McDonald's.
No.
And there's no shade on people working at McDonald's.
No.
That's not the point. But you've got college debt that you got to pay off. You've got a lot of things.
And let's be realistic, our minimum wage still does not keep up with the cost of living, so it's really not getting you anywhere.
Right, exactly. You're just wasting time.
I thought this was an interesting this was interesting information as it comes out, though, because construction actually remains one of the strongest sectors in the state of Wisconsin. There's significantly more jobs there than a year ago, but even that industry currently is seeing a month-to-month dip, and employers continue to say that they can't find enough workers to meet demand. And as we talk about this worker shortage, this is an overall theme with our overall state economy. Because we also know that inflation is a major concern right now. In fact, a recent Marquette poll found that 7 in 10 of us think that inflation is going to be worse over the next year. Yeah. That's not just numbers. That's an expectation of people who are actually purchasing things and going out on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's also a sign of people starting to brace themselves, and also industry starting to brace itself for what could potentially come. And property taxes in this state are still high. I mean, we have this conversation, Brian, constantly. We're
about every day.
Right. Because we do have some of the highest property taxes in the state of Wisconsin compared to the rest of the nation. Groceries aren't getting cheaper. Rent isn't getting cheaper. Insurance isn't getting cheaper. Nope. So even if unemployment rate is technically low, that doesn't mean any of us actually feel secure in what's happening around us.
Well, and to go back to what you said about construction and not having enough workers for construction jobs, it's a vicious cycle, because a lot of workers who may have been secure taking jobs on construction sites prior to this administration's second term are now not, because construction sites have historically counted on some undocumented workers, people who need work and who work hard, but maybe don't have the correct paperwork and get paid however they get paid. And now those people are not coming to construction sites. And we heard it here in Madison, where a couple construction sites, the workers just didn't show up because of potential ICE raids. So if you've counted on a certain workforce for many years, and you haven't been recruiting for, being a laborer is not glamorous. It's hard work. But if it's a way maybe to get into the skilled trades or to learn a skilled trade, but you haven't been, we don't really encourage people to go into that line of work. We encourage people to go to college, like Park, to college, get a degree. Yep. You're going to come out, you're going to get to listen to some old guy babble every morning while you push buttons and throw your fingers up at him. It's going to be great. This is what you need to do. We don't tell kids, hey, going into construction is fine. And being a carpenter, being a plumber, an electrician, those are great, great futures. You are always going to work. I don't care what AI does, we still have to go to the bathroom, which means we're always going to need a plumber.
And it's funny you say that, because I grew up in a very blue-collar household. We owned a construction company. That's what my dad did. My dad worked hard his entire life. He was up when it was dark. He came home when it was dark. He built custom houses. He built motels. He did, sometimes he had to take the smallest jobs when the big jobs just were panning out at the time, because, even though the economy, you might have a lot of jobs, other places who might want to build a business or have new means for houses or whatever it might be. If the economy's bad, it affected our livelihood every single year. Mm-hmm. If the price of lumber went up, that was also something we had to take into consideration. My dad, at the same time, was a very brilliant man. He was a smart, hard-working man. He did everything he could so that I had a better way of life. And I went to 4-year school, and I didn't have to ever work that hard. That was my parents' entire goal in life, is to work hard so I could go get a 4-year education and do what I wanted to do. I'm a product of exactly what you're saying, because I watched my parents do it my entire life, from owning their own business to getting up every day. And actually, my mommy would even go out there. My mom would even be out there helping him unload bricks and going to get supplies for all the job sites for our crews. So I grew up very much a part of that lifestyle. But to what you're saying about the immigration, we knew that was going to happen, right?
So we should have been planning ahead.
Happen. Yeah. I mean, that was a major fear of major companies when these immigration crackdowns started and the plans from this administration rolled out. And it goes back to the farming labor, too.
Mm-hmm.
Farming labor was also very concerned. So none of these numbers are actually surprising. When you think about it, when you look at it, what I think is surprising is that people are shocked by it.
Well, it's because we never think it's going to affect us. That's how people vote. They always think it's going to affect somebody else. And then when the chickens come home to roost, you're like, I didn't order chicken. Well, you did. You ordered chicken.
Yeah, we did.
And you got your chicken. It's Friday. That means we're going to close out the week with Dairyland Diaries, some fun stories from around the state. I'm Brian Noonan. This is Daybreak.
I'm Jamie Martinson. It is 8:48, and you're listening to the Civic Media Network.
All right.
And here we go. I'm probably not going to do this whole first story just because it's long. But I was like, all right, where do we cut?
There's a flower moon tonight.
What is that? What is a flower moon?
I assume a moon that happens
Is Leonardo
in May.
DiCaprio in a movie and all of that? That was a flower moon.
Oh, I didn't see that movie. Was it good? I know it was like 3.5 hours.
It's extremely good. If you love history, it's extremely long. So watch it at home. So you can take back your
you know
break.
what? That's a trend I do not enjoy.
I hate that.
Every
Why are
movie
movies
has
so
to be
long?
3 hours now. It's like, can't you tell the story in 2?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we used to get by with movies. When I was on the plane, I downloaded a bunch of really old movies flying to Orlando, and I didn't download anything that wasn't over 117 minutes long.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I was like, ooh, that's like 2.5 movies on the plane. We've got some comments coming in on socials. Curtis says, need to stop using AI. I have 2 old people my company is hiring, and they applied online and heard nothing. Sent them into the office and told them who to talk to. Both are good employees now. Yep, agreed.
Yeah.
Mr. Plow King says, I was out of work May 2024 until this March.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Debbie's still working, but she's looking for something else, and she's finding jobs. She has 2 master's degrees. She's qualified for all the jobs she's applying to. She is wildly qualified. Perhaps, dare I say, overqualified.
And then she doesn't get calls because then they don't want to pay her more.
Right. Well, and the salaries listed are more than she's making now, so it's not a matter of that. I'm like, nobody's actually seeing your resume.
Right.
Nobody. Because
it's all AI.
It's all AI, and then it's also, there's an age thing too.
That, and if you also, when you're applying for these jobs now with the algorithms, if you don't come within those algorithms and you don't hit certain criteria within it, then it just automatically kicks you out. So nobody actually ever looks for a lot of these companies at your resume.
Yeah, it's rough. And she's disappointed, and I'm empathetic. I'm like, oh, so now you know what it was like when I was looking for work. And I would say, I can't believe I'm not getting any response.
Yeah. No, I mean, we've been going through the same thing with Max, who graduated last year.
Okay.
And when you're talking about AI taking over, then you're losing entry-level jobs.
Yep.
Yeah. 10 seconds, Torbeck.
Oh, my gosh, really?
We're going to milk this for all it's worth. It's Dairyland Diaries, a look at local stories around Wisconsin.
It's 8:52 right now. I love this segment, mostly because of just this open.
I love the
makes me
open.
happy.
It also means that it's Friday and we're about 8 minutes away from knocking off for the weekend. But most importantly, it is good, uplifting stories from around Wisconsin.
Yeah.
The T word is not mentioned anywhere in this segment. So let's get started because we have some great stories today, especially the story of how Christopher Lyerman became the voice of Bayport sports. It started 12 years ago. He and his wife had been hired. His wife had been hired as agriculture teacher at the school in Bayport. So he had never heard of Bayport, even though he was from Manitowoc. He went in and met with the principal and the athletic director, and he said, "Hey, we should really start broadcasting Pirate sports. This would be fun, wouldn't it?" He started only with football, and let's see how it goes. So he had experience in business in the broadcasting business at a young age. He served as sports director at WRFW at the University of Wisconsin River Falls before he graduated. So the principal said, "Yeah, this is something we could do. So what we'll do is we'll get you somebody else." But nobody else wanted to do it. So he decides he'll do it. Fine, I'll do it by myself. I don't think he said it in that tone. Maybe he did. So he became the John Madden of Bayport football.
I love this.
He has stuck around as the color man in the booth even after he retired last summer. His screams during big moments can't really be heard from miles away, even though it does sound like it. Football broadcasts at the school soon turned into basketball and hockey broadcasts, then baseball and softball in the spring. Almost every sport in between, this guy has been broadcasting. He celebrated his 1,000th career game at Bayport over the winter. He has broadcast every sport but tennis. It presents a logistics issue on several fronts, but the plan is to do it for the first time this fall. He's going to do some tennis. He's not doing it for the revenue he generates from sponsorships, although those have grown from a handful to a dozen. He puts in a lot of hours, thousands of miles on his automobile, and he has allowed students with an interest in journalism the opportunity to practice their play-by-play work on the production. Many of those have gone on to actually work in the business. This guy has taken over. I love that he's the John Madden of Bayport football.
I love this story. I think it's fantastic. Kudos to him. And you know what? I'm going to say it. Sports broadcasting, it is a lost art. It's getting harder and harder to find people who are good at it and to do it. So somebody with a passion that's awesome. We've got so much more, though, and I'm excited about this one because it turns out that while we were all entrenched in Artemis 2 and watching what was happening, there were two Wisconsin women, in fact, who happened to be a part of that team. The program of Artemis has been years in the making, and NASA has been gearing up for the Artemis 3 even before Artemis 2 launched. Learned that, by the way, at Kennedy Space Center. Got to go through all of the fine art of Artemis, and it is really exciting. It turns out that life on the moon is going to be a thing if they have their way. Two Wisconsin natives, though, Susan Lederer and Kara Polkamp, played significant roles in NASA to bring Artemis 2 to launch, and they're already working on programs to prepare future astronauts for a lunar landing. Now, Lederer and Polkamp both discovered their passion for science and space exploration while they were growing up in northwestern Wisconsin. Sue grew up in Shawano, about 9,200 people, and the small town had one of the most remarkable night skies that Lederer had ever seen. Her grandpa loved constellations, so they would spend a lot of time at nights just staying up looking at the stars. And she actually remembers seeing the Milky Way stretching across the sky when she was working at a camp in the summer, a view that's not as visible from where she lives in Houston now, as you can probably imagine. Yes. Well, she is now at NASA as a planetary and space scientist and has an impactful voice on our understanding of the moon. She's the lead project scientist in NASA's commercial lunar payload services. NASA works with commercial companies to deliver technologies and science instruments to the moon. Kara, who's 43, remembers what the Orion spacecraft looked like when it was just a design on a PowerPoint slide. She is an Appleton North High School graduate. She is the deputy chief of NASA's extravehicular activity, robotics, and crew operations at the Johnson Space Center. That involves supporting Artemis 2 crew's habitability, recovery, stowage, and maintenance efforts inside the spacecraft. Her team works on making the spacecraft habitable in where they sleep, how they eat, how they take care of personal hygiene, and even the the onboard toilet system, which we know Artemis 2 had a little issue with.
Yes,
but at any rate, she also helps operate a robotic arm on the International Space Station. She develops spacesuits and other elements for astronaut spacewalks. She's also involved in the Neutral Buoyancy Lab, which is the large training pool at the Johnson Space Center. Go ladies.
Wow.
That is awesome. That's
Check
incredible.
out the big brains on these women. That is
Love it.
spectacular.
I love it.
Spectacular. And you know somebody who went to high school with them was like, they didn't seem that smart back then. Their science teachers were probably, and their math teachers are probably like,
Yes.
Who said? Who asked me if you're going to use math later in life? Anybody?
Right.
Anybody? Yes. That would be the easiest thing. Why do I need to learn this? I don't know. Maybe because someday you want to learn about the moon and and operate a robotic arm in space. Perhaps that.
Develop a spacesuit. Who knows?
Wow. That is
cool.
crazy.
That is
and just
cool.
real quick, how do we not highlight the Bubble Lady of Wisconsin? It was love at first bubble for Madison area performance artist Michelle Hackett. She first became acquainted with interactive bubble shows nearly a decade ago. I don't even know how that happens. She's billed as Marvelous Michelle. She tagged along with artist friends, and then she started doing bubbles. She crisscrosses the state giving bubble performances at fairs, festivals, and libraries. She is presenting at the 5th Annual Dane Arts Business of Art Conference about how she's carved out a creative niche as a bubble performer.
it.
So good for her. That's Dairyland Diaries. Hopefully you leave the show with a smile. And thank you for listening all week. We will be back on Monday. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. Have a fantastic weekend. And you are listening to the Civic Media Network.
I'm done. Bye.
All right, live stream.
Live
That is all.
stream.
Have